Cool.
It's like C-Post, you know.
Oh, in that case.
New age. Unclicked Podcast. Ready to go?
Yes, we are ready to go.
Jeff Z.
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going, guys?
Good to get you down here for this. Yeah.
Jeff Zielinski.
I am Jeff Z. This is Ryan Fudger.
Yes. I forgot we do need to find that.
We're not the same person.
Yeah.
Has that happened before?
Oh my gosh.
Pretty much every other trip, somebody's like, Jeff. And I'm like, no, but thank you.
Really?
Like, it happens all the time.
Just from working at Ride for decades together?
Being tall, lanky photographer type, I think goes a long way.
I'm always flattered.
Ryan, Jeff, I got it. I'm ready.
Somebody's mistaken me for him. Like,
And then there's also the hybrid that was happened earlier where it was he got a DM about the podcast and GT.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like he worked both jobs. So it was like he was both of us at the same time. So people just mix it up. So, but happened for years, literally forever. But it's good to have you on the podcast. Finally, there's another one we talked about forever.
He's been in here while we did a podcast. He's been a part of them.
Third time here. First time as a guest. Well, first time as a solo guest.
Yeah,
Julian, and then here with Bethany for the What Happened in BMX episode.
So
cheers. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Made the drive.
My first easy IPA, Dale's.
Yep. Shout out to Dale's. Shout out to Source BMX for our sponsorships. You guys rule.
Shout out to Rue the cat.
Rue's back. It's been a little while.
Rue, what's up?
We're filming this shortly after the Larry podcast with these Source waxes are going out to the comments on that video. So if you haven't done it yet,
they need to make a Dale's one.
I know they really do. That's dangerous with the laptop.
I always
another laptop down.
Say computer comments.
Yeah.
These are good though. These new ones.
Yeah.
These easy IPAs. The last podcast I wasn't really thinking about it.
Little more like consumable. They're 4.9%, where the normal ones were like
9%.
Yeah, well, the reds are the trouble ones. They're 9%, and then the blues are 6.5. So
these are nice.
Easy more than just in taste.
That's why they're red. It's like a warning.
It's a danger.
It's a warning.
Yeah,
you don't need too many of those. They're not good to drink consistently throughout a podcast.
It's
like a meal.
Up and you're like, oh,
it's a meal.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Or
you don't want to listen to the podcast again because you know how many you drink. That's when I stopped drinking the reds over and over again.
Yeah. So you are the GT Team Manager. Is that your official role these days?
Yeah, for the BMX team. Yeah.
Okay. So you will obviously get to that. That's the current days. But rewind. You worked at Ride BMX for 20 years. You grew up in Jersey. You had your part in a couple of notorious, dare I say, legendary videos from the East Coast. So, kind of where did your journey start?
Man, where did it start?
Not the first bike necessarily, but kind of like, oh, this is something I want to fucking do for the rest of my life.
Well, I think, watching BMX videos, it's like you can't help but want to get when did it start? I'm even trying to like...
The day you met Bob Sherbo.
Well, I think when I met Bob, he was super into basketball and hip hop. Mm-hmm. And then I got him into like I think I made him like a Screeching Weasel mixtape or something. So he got into punk rock music from me and from BMX videos. I'm not going to take all the credit for it. So I made him some mixtapes, and then I got him into filming.
Okay.
And at first, he actually filmed kind of poorly. I remember he messed up a couple things that I did. So I had this guy, Rich Andrew, film me instead.
Okay.
Rich just kind of clicked to him a little quicker. And then Bob started watching a lot of skate videos. And that's how I learned how to film too. Like I remember watching the Zero video. I think it was what was the first one? So was it Thrill of It All? And I just noticed like it was all handrails, and like the skaters going from top of the bottom frame, like back and forth. Each clip was just like, and the camera barely moved, and I was like, oh, you just like, you start at the top, have the whole spot in the shot, and then they go out. You don't just pan
Keep
down
him right in the middle.
Yeah. And it just made perfect sense to me. And I was like,
congrats on the new water room.
That's how you do it,
That's fisheye?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fisheye, yeah. So
I remember I was taught that too. Like, don't just, yank the fisheye around. Just let it go.
Yeah, just let the subject kind of flow through the shot. And then, you could tweak it after you get it comfortable, but that's kind of like the gist of it. It's like not a lot of movement. But I directly remember having that like eureka moment watching a Zero video. And then I think I told Bob to watch that, and he watched this other video called Underachievers, which is like all like East Coast skating. It was all black and white. This guy Dan Wolf made it, and that was like Bob's favorite video. So I think he figured it out watching those videos too.
So did you and Bob like grow up together? Or is it like, I mean, who's your crew at this point? Like you are riding with Bob. I assume he's always probably been pretty good at riding bikes.
There was a point when I first met Bob, I was better than him, and it probably lasted like 6 months. So we're like maybe like 4 years apart, maybe 5. But when you're a kid, that's like it's like it feels like it could be 10 years apart.
Yeah.
And we live like 3 or 4 towns away from each other.
Okay.
And I was a little more progressive at a point. Like I had like, an S&M with like aftermarket parts, and he was riding kind of like a jalopy, but every time I'd see him, like if maybe like a week or two go by, he'd have a new trick, and then I remember like all of a sudden he's like oh, I could do a whole 360 in the air off a bunny hop. And I was like, what? And he's like, literally he's like 15 or 14 doing like the Bob bunny hop threes. And I was like, oh, and that was like, that might have been
arguably one of the best hop threes of like all time in BMX, like you ask pros,
well, a lot of people, even if you have someone else who's you like more, they probably learned it watching Bob or so on, But I remember that might have been the moment where I'm like, oh, all right, he's really good. Him and George, and George Santos, they grew up in the same school. They lived a couple blocks away from each other, and George was the same way. George even more so. He learned tricks like super quick.
I feel like George is always a natural talent. Probably one of those like with anything. Yeah. Anything he touched within a surprising amount of time, he was good at it.
Yeah. And you guys all lived right next to each other? I know they went to the same school, but did you live same
I was
neighborhood?
like 2 towns away, maybe.
Yeah.
But small towns.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty quick, 15, 20-minute pedal.
Pretty sick.
Yeah.
A few legends right there, all growing up together.
Yeah, and then like Ralph Sinisi was also, a few towns away in the other direction, and then Joe Tizio. Mm-hmm. So it was that was just like,
damn.
I really lucked out when I started shooting photos. I had all these super talented people to shoot with, and they were all, starting to get sponsored. Like Bob and George were on FBM, Ralph was on FBM, Tizio got on Kink and Duff's, and then I was cutting my teeth to the photographers. I actually had people good enough to like send photos to the magazine.
Yeah.
I think my first published photo was of Ralph in like a base ad.
Okay.
But it was like three photos. So it was like a small one, but still at that point, I was like so stoked. Like it was in the magazines,
And what year is this about?
This is like 99.
99. Okay. Yeah. So I was graduating high school.
Yeah, I graduated in 96. But I started shooting photos in high school.
Yeah.
Like, you have all elective classes, like, like, what is it, like ceramics and home ec or whatever. But photography was like the first thing in high school where I was like legitimately like stoked on it. Like I would stay after school to use a darkroom. And before that, like I wouldn't be caught dead in school after school. Like, get me the hell out of here. You know what I mean? But I was like, I'll stay and use the darkroom some more.
There's a means to like do this other thing that you liked. So yeah, that makes sense. When you're shooting photos, like, are you kind of aware that like you're good at it in the beginning, or like obviously not in the beginning, but like, oh, I have a knack for this?
No, but it was just, I don't know what maybe it was probably because looking at BMX photos, honestly, like just like consuming magazines all the time. And then like, however, in the beginning, I never shot photos of riding because I always wanted just to go ride and not carry anything. So I was like, I'm not going to, I mean, not to say I didn't shoot any bike photos.
How things have changed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for real. Yeah. I think about that.
So at an early age, you knew that shit sucks.
But yeah, like I legitimately like would go on like a hike or something, or like go, I don't know, anytime we weren't riding, I'd bring a camera and shoot photos of whatever we were doing.
That's kind of cool though, because you practiced before getting shitty photos of your friends. Like when by the time you started shooting riding, you were experienced.
At least the photos were turning out. Like I definitely didn't like compose them well, or even like I was probably shooting like 500th of a second, so they were still kind of blurry.
Yeah.
But also back then we were like just like doing ice pick stalls and banked ledges. We weren't like going super fast.
Yeah.
And stuff,
yeah.
So.
I guess like you start shooting photos, you're filming. You guys make a video called Grizzle. And many people know that, but they also really, really know don't quit your day job.
Yeah. So a real quick history. So there was a point. So also, I actually went to school for photography for like one semester. Like there was like a poster.
College?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a poster in the photo class for like the School of Visual Arts, which I just learned that Scott Marcel actually graduated from that same school.
Oh, crazy.
But yeah, I went for one semester, not even full semester. I broke my foot because I would take the bus in every day from New Jersey because it was close enough. I would just commute in. I broke my foot, so I had to be on crutches and then the cast. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to crutch into New York City on the bus every day. This is too much. So I just quit that semester and then I had to go back in the summer to make it up. And I was like, dude, it's summer, and I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
I just never went back. But by that point, I was already started filming because when I was in high school shooting photos and after that little bit at SVA, I was printing everything in the darkroom. I didn't have a darkroom access anymore. And at that point, that was half of photography was printing. So I couldn't print photos. So I was like, well, and it's not really the same anymore, So I just kind of stopped shooting photos and then I started filming. And that's when I made this video called Stairs, which is the very first one.
Okay. I've heard you talk about this before, but I've never seen it.
You don't need to. Well, Bar Spin and Ryan put out Soil, and this is the same time period. It was all trails. I'm like, well, we don't ride trails. We just ride. We're riding staircases and little. So we'll call it Stairs.
Yeah.
It was film on I don't know what format it was, but it was edited between two VCRs.
Yeah.
And so it was super, just bare bones.
You had something about the fade out.
Oh yeah. Well, you could do the fades while filming only in the camera. So I would just fade out of a lot of clips. I didn't know which was gonna be the last clip.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of clips that fade out because
that was editing the banger. You're like, all right, that one was good. Fade to black.
Yeah. And back then there was no thought of
you're figuring it out.
Yeah. There was nothing. There was no guide. There was no tutorials. No, at that point in time, 2 or 3.
You're filming with
BMX
tapes
videos.
too, right?
Yeah. And only a handful of BMX videos come out every year at that point.
Yeah.
So it was super just dinosaur style.
What are you guys doing? Is everyone living at their parents' house, working jobs? Just
still in high school.
Still in high school at this point.
Stairs was senior year in high school.
Damn, that's cool. You guys were starting early though, filming, making videos.
Yeah, I was working I got out of school early and I worked at a deli, and all the money I made, I bought a video camera.
Sick.
And then over the summer, I bought a VCR. So then that was my beginning. And then what did I do? I ended up getting hurt again. I couldn't film, and I think I still wanted to come out, so I started shooting photos of people riding.
How come you couldn't film?
Well, I guess I could if I couldn't pedal around as well.
Oh, okay.
So I was just at home, and I think we finished the one video. So then I brought out the photo camera and I started shooting photos a little bit, and I kind of got back into it a little bit, and then I'm confusing. Everything's so long
it does
ago.
blend together.
Yeah.
It does.
It's crazy to go back to the past though and see how it all just started blossoming.
There were so many things that happened in a short amount of time. Stairs, Grizzle, and Day Job were seriously probably all filmed within 3 or 4 years.
Here we'll watch Tizio section. We don't have to talk about it specifically, but obviously shout out to Tizio ahead of his time. Yeah, I mean it's funny when you have these little.
What is this one?
This is Grizzle.
This is Grizzle.
Yeah.
I've only heard of Don't Quit Your Day Job.
And this is
obviously all
Hackettstown,
before
right?
my
That's
time.
Hackettstown, yeah.
You guys have this little synergy meteor shower melting pot of all these amazing riders that come together, and you have talented filmers and all this stuff, and this is what it produced. It produced Sherbo, amazing, legendary lifer rider, George DeSantos, progressive street rider, and
New Jersey's
all-around
just
rider.
crazy.
Yeah,
The amount of talent-
Tizio.
We've talked about it on the podcast before. The amount of talent that's came out of New Jersey is insane.
Yeah.
BMX talent.
This is just North Jersey. And I mean, to be honest, once Tom's River really started to pick up, and at that point in my life, Tom's River was worlds away.
Yeah.
It could have been
That was
it could have been Texas for all I cared. It felt super far away, because we were outside New York City too. So we're let's just go to Ride City. why go deeper into New Jersey if we can go into New York City? So we just went in the city, went through Brooklyn Banks, Road Street. Like, it wasn't really until I moved to California that a lot of my friends started, like Bob, started going down to ride Tom's River with with Garrett and Van and stuff and Wiz. But I was already like out of the picture at that point.
Goods was selling this? Was this a re-release? Stairs and Grizzle?
Yeah, that's a re-release because it has the little Z logo on it that Jim Bauer made. So that's definitely.
Rue is.
Whoa.
We're about to pull.
What's going on? Rue? I knew Rue was kind of crazy tonight. Drinking my water.
Too much catnip.
Something happened.
So
amazing though that all this was happening, like with you and this crew surrounding you, and you're all still just getting out of high school.
Yeah. And then day job that's the one that Bob and I made together.
Yeah.
That was the one that kind of
transcended Jersey.
Yeah, that was the one that got Stu Johnson to come out and do a Jersey Senior Report for props for us.
Okay.
That's when Tizio got invited to go on Road Fools. That's when, and then Ralph, he had this big pivotal moment. He went to Woodward to be a counselor, and I feel like he was just like drunk and getting like threatened to get kicked out and stuff the whole time.
Yeah.
But he met like Byron Anderson and Mike Tagg and all these pros. And then he basically came back from Woodward, or he might have just gone straight to California. And then he filmed the part for Nowhere Fast.
Yeah.
He started getting a couple photos and Ride. Like Tizio shot him doing like a feeble how-to, like, oh, you're in Ride doing a how-to. But for us, that was like the biggest deal.
Of course, yeah.
And I met Crandall for the first time in front of Ralph's parents' house. And the very first thing he does, he's like, you look like you're light. He picked me up and kind of tried to throw me. Like, it basically just picked me up and kind of plopped me, but he's like, that's the first thing he says. You look light. And he just picked me up. I was like, obviously I knew who Steve Crandall was.
Yeah.
But that was my first interaction with him. Like,
on brand.
Yeah. That's pretty hilarious.
It's crazy how many crews, when there's a bunch of talented people filming and shooting each other, that kind of happens with, you know, like even like we talked about the Common Crew and Market, and Deadline was already huge, all the names in there, but just like that, like your crew was doing stuff together, then all of a sudden people started emerging from it.
I mean, it's you can't quantify it, but like
those names are nothing. But now hearing them, you're like, why were you guys all friends in these like couple towns next to each other? Like,
and it rolls downhill, and you get the new generation of it. You get the Garretts, you get the Darryls, you get the like from Jersey and stuff like that. And it's like you guys have like this ripple effect because they see what you guys did, and that's like, and it motivates other people. It's so crazy when you like think back of like being at the center of that in a certain way, like I think all of us have that in our different ways.
Was there like a Jersey scene before you guys that you guys looked up to?
There
like
was
crews and pros.
There was these guys called the Dirt Nerds. They were guys that Ralph knew. But they kind of disbanded, but they were so early on. It was before anyone was like creating media or anything. So they didn't have anything to like, maybe besides some like point and shoot photos or something like that, like a friend took, but so they were more like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like legendary. We've heard of them. We go to these trails called the Bowl, and they'd be like, oh, Barry Gromack used to do like, pendulum, no footed cans over this jump. And, Mark Limondola would do this. And, so it was like.
So before video and film photos, it was all just, you had to go to a contest. There was no other way. Right.
I mean, there's local legends. There's like a dude named Chris that Gary and I rode with.
A dude named Chris.
never knew his last name, and he had like such an impact on us. Yeah. Never knew anything.
I was saying as far as like, how all these are all big name people that he's saying in his crew. But like before that, if you're in a crew, you couldn't become a big name and travel and get sponsored and whatnot.
I don't know.
Unless you went to contest.
Yeah.
Because it's just local legend.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The cameras really help push people all over.
Yeah.
Who couldn't get to the contest. And
so I guess speeding it up is like you get back into photos, obviously.
Yeah. At some point doing all that, I got hurt, and then it always seems like it was the transitions were happening around getting hurt because I couldn't ride. Yeah. So I'm just like, want to be out with my friends still. So I needed to like find like something to, I needed to find something to do. I was like, well, I like shooting photos. So I started shooting photos again. And at that point I started to have a better understanding of like composition and everything because I was filming a lot. And I actually got to the point where I was sending photos to Ride. The guy was like, oh, I actually think I got something here. Well, also, at that point, everyone was getting better. Mm-hmm. So I kind of lucked out in that regard because I feel like there's probably a lot of talented BMX photographers out there who don't have good riders to shoot.
Yeah.
Because even when we worked at Ride, some photos would come in and they were shot fine, but the riding just wasn't up to par.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was lucky enough to where, like, I remember sending a photo of George D. Smith grinding the rail at Love Park, those blue rails. Mm-hmm. And the photo really wasn't that good. But Losi ran it because at that time, no one was really Smith grinding rails down steps.
I remember that photo. It was like shot from the outside.
Yeah.
Like kind of vertical, right?
It was vertical.
Yeah,
and
it's crazy. I remember that.
They gave it like a weird tint and stuff. They
tinted it.
Yeah, they tinted it. It was black and white. I think it was black and white, but probably had motion blur. I didn't even know about, flash durations yet.
Yeah.
Even if I did, I was just using like 285,
Yeah. Vivitar 285.
Yeah. Which is actually a good flash duration for a flash of its size and cost, but that's a whole other.
Let's not start.
All right. This Unclicked podcast is brought to you by Source BMX. We're very grateful to have them as a sponsor for the podcast, and couldn't work any more organically.
Yeah. Huge shout out to Source. Been a supporter of RBMX from the beginning, supporter of the podcast this year. They did kick off one of these new programs called Source Rewards. This is a brand new program that they have.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You get money back for spending money.
Basically, and not even that. So you get points when you join, you get points when you spend money, of course, but you also get points for signing for the mailing list. You get points for your birthday.
Leave a review.
Yeah.
Easy points all over. Make a purchase. Refer friends. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. Look at all that stuff.
So
genius. The Source guys are geniuses. They make it better and better to buy from them.
Yeah. And then so you can, this is how you spend those points. You can get hats, badges, socks. I got to tell you, those socks are the ones right there. They do somehow work. They are good socks. The Oxygen Thief Repair.
I love it. They have everything on here, all the products, and now they have basically like a frequent flyer miles thing.
It is like that.
It's like that, but for buying BMX shit.
Yep. So shout out to Source.
Wow, it's just like a frequent. You get the bronze, silver, gold package. Look at that.
Thank you to Source for all they do. We appreciate you guys, and back to the podcast.
Thank you, Source.
Dude, we're so good at this. How long are you contributing for? And shooting photos is expensive. So you were working, I assume, and then.
Well, actually, I also worked in like a photo lab for a little while, just like running like the 1 hour processing machine. Like I actually got let go eventually because I came in looking to like, I was a little too unkept for like the, the guy was really uptight.
You were too light. You were too light. Crandall was right. You want to let her out.
But so I was definitely just kind of like getting some rolls from there.
Yeah.
And processing there for free.
You were stealing.
Yeah. But so yeah, that helped a little bit. It was just print film. It was like really cheap, like AGFA film. It wasn't like anything. He had some deal AGFA, so he would always just pushed AGFA film. But other than Scala, I've never shot AGFA film ever.
Yeah. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. I remember. I know Scala, but
that was the only AGFA film I'd ever used, and that was like kind of weird, but it was different. So it was anyway. Again, tangents, right? But yeah, so that was kind of how I got like the start again. The official start.
Yeah.
And then Losi would give me critiques, and then but I was far enough along where it was easier. I'm all right. Like my foot's in the door. Kind of got it figured out.
Okay, so this is a dumb question because I live this, but it's so hard for me to understand. Like Losi would give you critiques via phone call or via email or via letter.
That's a good question.
Wagon what?
I think like maybe the first couple times he might have mailed them back
and just wrote some notes or something.
Some stuff, and then I think I got to the point where I got really excited and I would like call like, "Hey, did you get my photos?"
Okay.
And and then like maybe he did or didn't or he didn't open it yet, but I didn't really realize like, oh, he went on a trip for 11 days and he probably just got back in the office, has a ton of things to do, and go home to his wife. How we became that person, and we would know like
Yeah, he's not just sitting by the mailbox waiting for your photos. Yeah. So this is what year? This is like 99, 2000-ish.
Yeah.
So
you mail the photos in and wait for him to send you a letter back in the mail?
Well, they return them.
sometimes.
They send them back and maybe.
I have a folder of return to photographer, that nobody returned to. But
yeah, they would send them back and, with like some, because eventually I became that person to send them back, and I would give them some, and sometimes you're like, well, they sent photos, but they didn't really specify that they want like a critique. So you're like, do I tell them? Because I don't want to like insult somebody, So I'm like, do I say? Like,
I always felt like you really put effort into making sure that people got a similar experience that you got, where I feel like I would have been like, I'm too busy, or I don't have that energy to like shutting somebody down in a positive way is like, so you just send them back, you'd be like, hey, we don't have room for this right now.
So I know you guys know the answer, but when you guys are sending them in, you guys became that guy. Like you said, are you just getting tons of contributor film photos? Or is that not as big
tons,
as that?
But, a couple per month. Sorry, just like some of my throat.
Yeah, you're good. Well, Jeff was there. When did you start at Ride officially?
2001, I think.
2001, and then I started at 2003-ish.
It was like just little thing
just
here.
sitting there.
Like, I was like, why right now when all this is happening?
Maybe 22, 23 is when I started. So he was there for about a year or so before, a year or more before I was. So
okay.
But he was always photo editor. I got hired to do the website. I got hired as video guy. I got hired as typing guy. So it was definitely that was his world back then. I didn't even know how to shoot photos when I started to Ride.
It's a trip how much that's changed in 20 years.
Oh yeah.
Mailing these photos in and waiting for the return.
You would
letter.
put them like between like two realistic pieces of cardboard, and then you'd write on there like "Do not bend film," because like. Yeah, and you just hope they get there safe, and then you send back the same way to ensure that they're not damaged, And
because at the time,
the dream is to get it in the magazine.
Yeah, and at the time too, like you could scan a photo and maybe email it, but that would be like
how fun.
Who knows what it is? But like
wild.
The drum scanner that was at Transworld was, it was $40,000 or $50,000. It was this giant. I mean, you would know it better than me, but it was this giant glass tube that was like this big. And
like this tall. It was huge.
Yeah, and they would put 40 photos on it, like negatives, and then it would spin.
And they coat the film with like an oil. I don't know the whole science of the scanning part, but they coat it with oil.
Those machines probably don't have very good resale value.
No,
they're worth they're worth $4.
Eventually,
take them to the dump.
Yeah.
Not to fast forward too far, but the main demise of my shooting film was because the scanner broke in Transworld, and it got to the point where myself and only 3 other people were still shooting film, and it was like either they couldn't find the parts, or it's just too expensive, or just not worth it. Because basically, once the skate guys were done shooting film, they're probably just like, we're not going to fix this thing.
Yeah, and then so the quality of his scans got lowered dramatically. So then it became like counterproductive to shoot film, because his photos would actually turn out worse because the scanning process was shittier.
Interesting.
So, and at that point, I was shooting a lot more freelance, and any brand I was shooting for just wanted digital.
Yeah.
So I was already like processing my own photos. Because remember, at one point when we had everything scanned, everything was scanned for us, and never used Photoshop. Didn't need to.
Yeah.
So like I remember a couple of times when I first went into Photoshop, I was like, what am I doing? What the hell is going on here? And all these sliders, and all of a sudden...
Was that yesterday?
I remember one time, it was super last minute, and we had to choose a new TOC photo, and Miguel, or whoever was processing, no one was there, so Mark and I had to do it, and it was a photo of Austin Coleman, like, I don't know, just some sunset photo. It was digital, because I was still shooting film, but Mark was, he jumped on the digital bandwagon pretty quick.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what to do. We're like moving stuff around and looking at it on a monitor, but I'm thinking like, well, it looks like this on the computer, but how's it going to look in the magazine? And we didn't know what we were doing. We were just like,
well, Mark is also colorblind.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help.
It doesn't help. No. I remember
that's crazy. I forget that.
Yeah, because and I love Losi, so please don't take this as a dig, but like when digital stuff came out, like Mark's photos when it turned to digital and you had to start color correcting your own stuff, he just plays it super safe, and he knows what it's supposed to look like on like a graphical
you're
nature.
colorblind.
And so his photos would always, when he posts them, they're not very pumped on the colors because he can't see them. So he's a little timid on his color correction. So it's always kind of funny. Like for me, when I see a Mark photo, I always get reminded like, he is a photographer who can't see colors. That is amazing. So,
insane.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Losi more, I'm sure. But can you establish like Ride's role at this point too? Like,
well, before I even go there, like so.
We haven't even gotten.
Oh yeah, we haven't even gotten to
there.
him being hired. We're still him. You're still a contributor. So
I was at one point I was working at a health food store, like a natural food store. Honestly, not much bigger than this room. It was before Whole Foods was a
very
thing.
big room. Not really.
So I was working like off the books there, and then shooting photos. And I remember the first thing I got paid was a photo that was in BMX Action.
Okay.
It was like $55 maybe, but I couldn't believe it. I actually got a check, and I was like, I got paid for photos. This is amazing. Like, I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So I would send photos to Faction, Dig, Ride UK, Ride, pretty much every magazine except for Plus.
Why not Plus?
I just didn't know anyone there.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if they ever actually were asking for like submissions. I don't think
so.
they really put it out there. They were looking.
Mm-hmm.
And I have all of them. That one, I looked at it because it was available, but I wasn't really stoked on it.
So
Perfectly honest. And the paper, you hold up Plus, you could kind of see through the page, and that really bothered me. I was like, the photos just don't. The paper's so thin. The photos just don't look good.
yeah.
And I would hate to have a photo I was stoked on and have it like, reproduced that way. So if people like Grimaldo Duran, I'd go out with him and get like a ton of photos all the time. So I would mix them up. I'm like, well, I got 10 photos of Grimaldo. I'm going to send 2 to Ride, 2 to Dig, and just kind of like disperse them like that. Make sure that things weren't too similar. I didn't want to bum anyone out, And it's kind of how I ran it for quite a while. Well, not quite a while, like, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years.
And at that point, what is it if they run your photo as a contributor? Do you get $50 a photo, or?
It depends on the size it runs.
Uh-huh.
So
they had a set standard though.
Yeah. And then eventually with Dig, they were kind of just paying me per issue.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like, it was kind of like
a retainer.
I wasn't really
almost?
on a retainer. I could shoot other people too, but it was like, let's just set them out. If they
that's
ran
cool.
like, 5 or 20 photos, But eventually the opening came at Ride. And then at that point I was shooting Ride quite a bit. And then I remember they actually flew me out for interview and stuff. And
Before that, didn't you go on like a Sombra tour?
the Sombra, the Sombra. That was actually one of the questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, somebody asked.
Oh,
yeah.
is it on? I haven't looked at the Instagram.
So
What is Sombra?
Sombra is I forget what Sombra means exactly, but so this guy Els Bells, he made these wild videos from Arizona.
Shadow.
That makes sense.
Seeking,
Or
yeah,
Shade.
seeking, yeah, Shade.
Shade, yeah. Because Arizona.
Oh, that's
Finding
what it means, Shade.
Yeah, Finding Shade was one of the name of the
Sombra.
videos.
Yeah.
So Els made these videos. It was like Gons, Rat Boy, like all the Arizona guys. There's all those videos like
Chris
Gons.
Toth.
Yeah, and, Gons doing like flip fakies off trees and like crazy riding, like the most progressive street riding. The first all street riding video was an Els video, I believe.
Really?
But the music was like
Fun. It was like
That's
his
crazy.
band.
Yeah, wasn't all
his
street
band called
videos.
Magnet Plan, and the music it's really hard to listen to the music.
Let's see.
It's
This is the music.
it's like,
This is actually the music.
and even the
Blowing
editing
out
at
speaker
times.
sounds.
Yeah, it sounds like your eardrums are messed up. Like,
Damn,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Yeah.
Rocket backwards manual.
Yeah, the riding they were like some of the most aggressive street riders at the time. I mean, Edwin
The Miami.
Wow, they went to Miami.
De La Rosa learned how threes watching the Gons. Like,
Wow.
that's he emulated his threes.
That's
So
Ed, right? The quality is so
Yeah.
low. I can't.
Yeah,
Shout out
was
to
Ed.
Edwin.
That's gone, obviously.
That's Gons. That's us in Miami. Actually, I was there. That was This is
Because this is
I guess
the article was a Finding Shade tour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got
So I
sent
met
that as a
Els.
contributor?
So when we
Do you think real quick, sorry to pause it. Do you think when stuff got put onto the internet, it looks worse than it did?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I was
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
some old videos on the internet and I was like, it didn't look this bad.
No.
So it got all messed up when we put on the internet
Yeah.
these old videos.
yeah,
bet.
it definitely-
That's why you need to keep a VHS player to watch your videos and good quality.
So
I bet this is probably a little bit.
when
I'm glad I wasn't watching videos that look like that.
Bob and I edited Day Job at base with Glenn Milligan.
Okay.
And
Glenn.
I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for Glenn. Glenn,
He's
like,
the
I think a
man.
lot of people can say that. Like,
He is the man.
Like I've told Glenn numerous
Here we go.
times
New-
how much like
Up the quality here.
I appreciate him, you know. But
Yeah.
we went to base, and Bob and I just stayed there and slept at base for like 2 nights. And Glenn actually, because back then too, like nobody had editing software.
It was a machine. It was going back to the drum scanner. It was a piece of very, very expensive equipment.
Turns out that Glenn helped a lot of people edit their videos. We went there and Els was there. Glenn was editing Els's video, and then Glenn helped Chad Johnston edit his videos. Not how many, at least one.
Yeah.
So the only people editing were the people who had these big machines.
Yeah, or at least like the software. Like they had to have a fast computer, or even have a computer. Like I didn't have a computer back then. Like my parents didn't have one. We didn't have one. So yeah, Glenn was super pioneering in just editing in general. So we went there. We kind of like literally listed the tricks in order in like a notebook. So Glenn, we kind of directed Glenn, but Glenn edited Day Job. And then the box art we did with Steve Crandall in Ithaca, where he used to run FBM from.
Yeah.
Even the photo on the box of Day Job was shot. I shot it at a post office in the back and somewhere in Ithaca. Like George is like doing some Smith grind. But
That's
so
it right
yeah,
there, yeah.
that photo was a post office in Ithaca. Like literally, we shot
This
it while we were
can't
up
get
there.
any smaller. There we go.
Yeah,
It's insane what went into editing these videos.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Especially compared to how things are now. Back then everything was so archaic. It took
It's funny that
so much-
you
so
actually
much
had to
effort to stick with it.
storyboard it out in a sense, like almost like a real movie. You're like, all right, this is the opener. And you went through every trick and penciled it out for the
What would you
editor.
do before this? Sorry to keep going back.
No, I mean it's probably blowing your mind in a lot.
No,
of
we've done podcasts like this when
Yeah.
when I with other photographers and video guys, and I forget I forget how crazy. It's good to be reminded.
Yeah.
Like, fuck,
feel-
you guys
I
are
feel like-
beasts for doing this
I
stuff.
feel like
It is. I can make a video on my iPhone right now.
I feel like I'm fortunate that
It's
it was
insane.
like I came up in a time when it took a lot of persistence and effort to like stick with it. Maybe it's why I have like the longevity I've had. I feel like if a lot more people who are probably much more talented than me didn't have if I had all these hurdles, like they probably would have excelled a lot further. They probably just like hit a couple of hurdles and like, all right, too many.
There's something to be said.
You came from an amazing time where before you, like I asked that question earlier, before you, there wasn't even like an opportunity to do it, unless you were like a filmmaker's son or whatever. And then all the way to 2024, like you've been in the perfect time zone to see the hardships of had to go to base Brooklyn to use the editing machine,
Yeah.
And then when Transworld's huge spinny thing stopped working, you couldn't shoot film anymore,
Yeah.
like you've
And
seen it.
And I'm sure some people would be like, you threw in a towel with the film but yeah, it's like,
But I think a lot of people don't know.
Not realistic.
Know
Yeah,
that
like,
know
really.
that specific fact
Yeah.
because you're like,
That's-
okay, well, your photos turn because digital cameras are getting better. The results from film cameras are getting worse, and it makes sense, and you can't deny that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't buy a $40,000 drum scanner that he was used to using for 15 years.
And these
You know?
companies are sending photographers on the trips for the magazine too. So they're like, can we please not risk it with the film?
And it was safer. Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
It was a lot of
I
he
held
was.
on pretty long towards the end, I think. Like,
You did,
as far
and you were
as-
kind of, and that's part of your appeal or the culture behind you is that like, hey, he's out there shooting film photos, like he is an artisan in a sense that in like a digital
No,
world,
it's beautiful.
So, all right, let's bring it back though. So Sombra Tour,
So Sombra Tour,
you get
so
to
we
go
met-
on
we met-
as a
we
ride.
met-
Good
we met
memory.
Els at base.
Yeah.
And Els, he's like, hey, if you ever want to come up to Arizona, like hit me up. And that winter, I was like, hey, remember me? Like, I'm gonna get the hell out of this cold. So, me and my buddy Adam Weber flew out there, and we stayed at Els's house. And Els was nocturnal, so he would go out every night to the gym and then to the studio. So Adam and I would go ride every day. we didn't see Elf at all.
Yeah.
We'd see him crossing paths. Like we're coming back, he's just leaving.
Yeah.
And
Ships in the night.
like it the whole time.
Whoa.
So we would just pedal everywhere. We learned pretty quickly how spread out everything is in Phoenix.
Hell yeah.
And we learned about goat heads really quickly.
Yeah.
Yes.
We learned you could put bikes on the front of a bus. It was a game changer because in New Jersey, you can't bring a bike on a bus. You could
No bike rack?
Yeah, no bike rack.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was always so jealous of my skater friends because they could just go on a bus and go to New York. We had to pedal so far to get to the PATH train and take the PATH train into the city and then ride the day and come back, have to take PATH train back and then pedal all the way home. So it's like a
Does the East Coast still not have bus racks? Bike racks on
I
the
don't
bus?
know. I'm not sure.
They got to. Sorry.
Hopefully. Yeah. Do you think so, right?
They have to.
I think partially is because I don't know why. But we met Gons out there briefly, but he was pretty sporadic. But we were with Smoker Dave a lot.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then,
shout out to Smoker Dave.
So yeah, Smoker was cool. We met up with Smoker. He took us around. I got to shoot that photo where he peg stalled the middle of the fence.
That's a good one. Black and white one
ride.
too.
Yeah,
that was a classic one.
And then I think I filmed him a couple of his clips that were in animal videos, ones that I filmed.
Okay.
And that's all from this winter trip.
That might have been another trip. No, it might have been that winter trip actually. That we might have held on to him. And then
I would say that this is probably like the most notorious Smoker Dave photo. Not that it sums up his bike riding super well because he was a lot more than just a double peg on a fence, but like this is like his. But it's so
the
cool.
Look, like the
I was gonna
like
say
the
he
jacket.
looks so cool.
Yeah, he looks super
Yeah.
cool. And the giant pegs immediately.
Those
my
pegs
bike
are
in the
like
background.
7 inches. Is that a mirage? Like,
Well, they're
is that
on-
really
he
how
has,
long
like-
that peg is?
He has like S&M ditch forks, I think. So I
Oh,
want
yeah,
to
the
say
bosses.
Yeah,
Oh.
so it's like the thickness of the fork, and then plus the peg attached to the fork. When that idea came out, though, that I felt that was like the smartest, sickest
Man,
thing
what a-
ever.
Yeah.
But then you quickly learn since your peg wasn't on your axle, like it wasn't the center. It didn't feel natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but at the time, it seemed like the smartest idea ever. It was for when you're learning how to ride. It definitely helped you
Photo's
not
so
destroy.
sick.
And then,
that sprocket.
Obviously, this post was made in remembrance of Dave's passing in 2021. So, rest in peace, Smoker Dave.
Cool
Schilling.
dude.
Yeah, I met him when I was super young as well. Always super cool. So,
He showed me that Euro gap from the writing on the walls tail whip.
oh really?
Yeah.
the tail whip.
Yeah. We
That's
took
amazing.
Nigel to the ER. He had to get stitches. And he's like, you want to see this gap over here? And I was like, what the fuck, Dave? Like, what is that?
That's sick.
Yeah. He's like, I've always looked at it.
So Smoker Dave, did you meet Rat Boy? Obviously.
No, so around that time, Rat Boy was
Incarcerated.
he was incarcerated.
All right.
But then so I met Els. My friendship with Els was set. Go back to New Jersey, and then at some point, Els hit me up shortly after me, 8 months later, maybe a year later. Said, hey, I'm doing this thing, the Sombra tour. Do you want to come out and shoot photos? And then that was right after I got to know Edwin, and I basically was, hey, I'll come out. And I told him about Ed. I'm like, hey, there's this kid out here, Edwin. He's a big fan of Gons. He's incredible. Like, trust me. He's like, yeah, bring him. So Ed was in high school. He was like 15 or 16.
Yo.
And we took a Greyhound from New York to Phoenix. And then we got off the Greyhound.
Hold on. You got to say a little bit more about the Greyhound. How many hours?
It was a couple of days.
Sorry,
it was
my
pretty-
bad. I should have measured that in hours.
Yeah, honestly, back then, it really
Translates to days.
It wasn't really like,
It just was what it was.
yeah, it wasn't bad. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, I was like, oh, we're going to hop. I mean, at that point, I was already taking buses up to Buffalo to shoot with Jim C for Kink.
Mm-hmm.
Like one time, I shot a lot of photos of Jim Zielinski before I moved. He's like, hey, I really want to like ride a snowbank. Like I want to like flare a snowbank. So I took a bus from Jersey. Well, I had to go into New York and take the bus to Buffalo because he wanted to flare a snowbank. And we got there and it didn't work. He ended up like foo-fooing it or something, but the flare didn't happen. He just couldn't pack the snow right, or his tires kept on. I
Makes
can't
sense.
recall.
Yeah.
But so I was kind of used to doing the bus thing because growing up in Jersey, like I couldn't afford a car. My parents couldn't afford to put me on insurance. I just didn't get a car.
Yeah.
You know, like you take a bus, you go to New York City and you didn't really need one.
Fair enough.
You know, I mean, it would be nice. Anyway, and Ralph picked me up too. Ralph would drive me because I was a filmer or photographer. So Ralph would get me. It was kind of like a, you know, scratch your back. So.
Yeah.
But I
kind of before we
You're
move
going on the Greyhound to Arizona right now.
yeah. So one takeaway from that, somewhere halfway across the country, we got off the bus. You know, the bus stops at different terminals. We got off the bus to go get something, and then you could hear like it's time to get back to the bus, and then a train's coming. The bus station's on one side of train tracks. We're on the other.
Oh no!
And the bus is loading, and it was like a fucking freight train.
Yeah.
And we're like, there's no way this is happening. We had to run in front of this train, and we knew we weren't. It wasn't like it breezed past us, touch our shirt kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was. I never would have ran in front of that train otherwise. You know, it was close enough to where, I mean, like if we would have gotten arrested or something, it's on salt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was close enough to where it was like, well, holy shit, that was fucking scary. But you know, otherwise the bus would have left. And
it ain't coming for another 24 hours for the next one.
Our bags are on. Our bikes were on.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
So it was like we could see the bus the whole time from where we were, and everything was locked. It's safe. It's below, but it would have left us. You know what I mean? So it was like that was the one takeaway from that trip that was like, holy shit, that was kind of scary.
Is it worth doing another tangent and asking about meeting Edwin for the first time and kind of young Edwin?
Yeah. This is when I was doing like an article for Ride about like street riding in New York City. And I knew Will Taubman, and I saw Worms, Ralph Smith. I saw him ride at Mulally, and Worms he just oozed style.
Incredible rider.
Yes, incredible rider. I didn't know him, but I wanted to shoot him for the article. But Will knew him, so Will's like, "Oh, I'll hook it up," you know. So he talked to Worms, and like, "Oh, they're going to come to the Banks on this weekend." So Worms shows up with Tyrone Williams and Edwin. So it's like Worms. Tyrone's like a yellow standard. He introduces himself as T-Bird to me.
Shout out Tyrone.
So yeah, they're all like 16, you know, and Edwin. And he's just like, Edwin's like wearing like basketball shorts, like Eddie's with like no socks on. And he's just doing crank flips and hop threes and bar spins. He was like, we're like, whoa, this kid is so fucking good. But he has so much style too. It wasn't, you know, like 15-year-old kid that maybe they could do the trip. They do the bar and your hands come on after or whatever. He was just like, we're like, wow. Like it was me, Ralph. I forget who else was there. It was right when Animal was starting. And right away, we're like, sprocket, pegs. Here,
just give it. Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
He was the first person that I saw that made riding like flat ground look fun.
Yeah.
Because with that style, like a hop three, like you said, he copied the Gons or he would look up at the Gons.
Yeah,
but man, when I think Ed was in like
emulated that.
At Knees Forward or something was the first footage I saw of him. And he threes like a parking lot to parking lot gap and just does all these little lines. It was something different right away. Like, whoa.
And he had that at 15, 14, whatever.
He might have
changed
14
the way people rode street.
He was super young.
Yeah.
That was our initial, you know, interaction with all of them. Basically.
Was he quiet?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's funny to imagine 14-year-old Ed or 15-year-old Ed.
Yeah.
You know, like from the Ed that I know, like he's just.
Oh yeah. Like, Ed definitely changed a lot while I knew him too, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I didn't even go into the whole beginning of Animal too.
Yeah.
Because all these things like molded together.
That's what I mean. Like that's why I call it like a meteor shower because it's like literally all this shit is just happening all at the same time.
I didn't want to derail it, but you're talking about Ralph, and then I was like, is Animal a thing at this point?
Yeah.
But I didn't. So we're Greyhound and busing to Arizona at this point. Let's go back.
It was all kind of the same year, like because Ralph started Animal, or he approached us about Animal in '99. I think I want to say it was incorporated in 2000.
Okay.
But so the word Animal. I'm going to credit Rich Andrew. Rich Andrew, you know, he'd be like, "Oh, Rooftop's an animal." You know, you see Peg sold that fence, like Animal was a word he threw around a lot. I don't remember really Ralph using it. I don't know if it was necessarily a term we all use, but Rich definitely used it a lot. So Ralph, you've probably heard the story. We went on a trip.
The mushrooms.
Yeah, the mushrooms. And he decided like he had that epiphany on that trip. He wanted to like.
What happened?
So there was an FBM trip. They went down to the Carolinas and they rode some college, and Ralph and Tag riding a ledge, and they got arrested for like destruction of property, I guess. They literally got thrown in jail. They got deloused.
Spent the night.
Like they like had to see each other naked.
Sprayed down.
Yeah, the whole
spatter
thing.
with baby powder.
Yeah, orange jumpsuits, the whole nine.
I thought we were going to talk about mushrooms.
It's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
They got a horror story for riding a ledge. That sucks.
Yeah. So that's all behind them. They're out, and then they're on the way back or whatever. But they're camping, or they're Ralph he took shrooms, and then during that occurrence, he had his epiphany. He's like, if I'm gonna like putting all this effort in and doing all this and getting hurt and just going through all these motions, I want to do it for something that's like mine.
Yeah.
And that's basically decided. So he comes back and he gets us all to come over to this dude, Dennis Stankovic, who
ran glass.
Yeah.
Something
through the Looking Glass.
Through the Looking Glass. Yeah, it was a really cool magazine. Yeah.
So Dennis is a BMXer. He's a really good writer. He used to write like the descriptions for like pharmaceuticals and stuff.
Okay.
Which you think about is hard to do. You have to come up with all these analogous situations. Anyway, so he that was like,
I never thought about the person that writes the descriptions for pharmaceuticals.
I don't know. I don't think he was doing it at that point, but at some point in time he did that. But he still might have been a teacher. Super smart guy.
He was super smart, dude. And I remember meeting him when I was in New York, and I was like, this dude's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not cool enough to talk.
All right,
to
we're
this
so
dude.
far in the weeds now.
But go ahead.
Super
Sorry,
cool guy.
looking
like,
at
From the Greyhound, where
I know.
we're
But we're talking about the beginning of the animal.
Okay.
So
but Dennis and Roger Lecky did a magazine together. And so, but Ralph got us to go to Dennis's house by luring us over with pizza. It's like, pizza, everyone come over, pizza and beer. And so it was like Dennis, Tizio, Bob, George, Sean Curran, who now does Merit. Basically, Ralph realized, because Sean is like an industrial designer, so he can design bike parts. I can make photos and video. Tizio, Bob, and George are all great bike riders. He's like, I have everything I need to do this. And that's kind of how it started. And
that was the mushroom trip right there.
Yeah.
That was like, he's like, I got them all.
Yeah. He's
like, we have a company.
Let's do it,
Yeah. And everybody was on board, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think Tizio might have been a little skeptical, maybe at first, but Ralph let him test the first sprocket, and then eventually, everyone was on board. And then, so photos to me kind of took a back seat because I filmed that video. I would kind of do both, but filming that video was
the first animal video, just self-titled Animal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So
you filmed that?
I filmed that one, except for Marcus Wilkie's part was mostly Glenn because Marcus lived in Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shad Johnson filmed like a Northwest part.
Okay.
Like a Portland area part because we sponsored a co-guys from up there. But yeah, the rest of it was basically me. And then when I moved to California, we edited the video like right when we got here. When I got the job at Ride.
You and Glenn?
Yeah. The job. So
don't go too far ahead.
Yeah. Driving across country, it was Ralph, Edwin, Bob, this guy, Dave Margeri. We had 2 cars and all my stuff. And we filmed more along the way. And as soon as we got here, we were editing the video at night, filming more during the day. Plus I was going to Ride and getting situated with the job. But I was living with Glenn for the first month.
Okay.
Maybe 2 months in a studio apartment. So another shout out to Glenn.
Yeah. Crazy.
Literally he's sleeping and I'm on his couch and we're in the same room.
Yeah.
And he edited that video for us. Bob basically directed it. And then Glenn did the editing.
Yeah. Okay. So Sombra Tour, you make it on the Greyhound bus, obviously.
Yeah, we made it.
Sorry, bring it back. And then, so you and Ed go to Arizona, and then you guys drive to Miami. So you do a big old,
we drove to Miami.
Big old United States V.
Yeah, we drove
the Sombra trip went back to Miami
in one of those windowless vans.
Sick.
Yeah, I remember and
did you have a seatbelt?
No, we were all just literally just lumped together in the back. It was some parts. It was super cold. you know, obviously this one dude, Chris Snyder, had the worst smelling feet. Like he didn't really, his feet fucking reeked, dude. It was so bad.
Like he had like actual bacteria happening.
Yeah, I think he just didn't change his socks enough. And obviously we're not like being super, we weren't like really staying a lot of hotels. So none of us were like smelling great, but
these feet you still remember.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It's funny. That's funny. Yeah, that is like.
Goms was like on
his first memory was
and stuff. So he was just like passed out and sleeping most of the time. I was just wide awake. Like, you know, I was still stoked though, because it was all new to me.
Yeah.
I really didn't really care.
Yeah.
And you look at Edwin, and he's just shivering in the corner. Like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Yeah.
15-year-old Edwin.
At that point, because he was with his favorite bike rider, Gons. So I don't know. At that point, he really cared. I think it was still like new and exciting for him too.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, I feel like a lot of times you don't really. You fast forward a couple of years and you do a Red Bull job or something, and you get a really nice hotel. You're like, oh man, this is like.
She'll fuck you up.
Yeah, they'll change your perspective really quickly. You know? But
that first class that first class flight, and you're like, damn, now everything else sucks, and it sucks. Like,
yeah, I'm still pretty fine. I don't want to. Yeah,
you don't want to. You don't jade yourself. You try to keep yourself like not too mixed up in it. But so the trip, you're a contributor for Ride. Like, is this your job? This is solely your job. You have animal Ride contributor. Obviously, Dig has you on retainer. You're a photographer.
Yeah. I
full blown photographer.
Yeah, totally. Still living with my parents, you know, and not like making like a living per se. But at that point, especially helping Ralph so much, like, you know, Ralph would always just like anytime we were out riding, he just bought us food or dinner or whatever. So it was, you know, getting by.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How did Ralph start funding all this? Did he?
I think
go
he
for
took
it with a loan.
I can't remember.
Ralph did a Canode Knows podcast recently that's really good, and then he did a follow up one which I haven't had the chance to watch yet. But the first one was super good, so it was a lot more in depth, and you know, Ralph, shares a lot of stuff, like all the financial troubles that they eventually get in and stuff like that.
In the beginning, he basically just got sprockets and pegs made, and then we ran out of his parents' garage. And then we started running animal out of this bike shop called Intense Energy, like in the back of that shop. So I feel like as the brand grew, the expenses grew, but as it was getting big enough to where they could afford to actually like get a brick and mortar space.
Yeah. So anything notable from the Sombra tour? Like obviously Ride gets the photos afterwards. I remember the whole article. Like you did a good job.
Thank you.
You know, like
I didn't write it. This guy, Jeff Tackett or Jeff Stewart, he had like a pen name. He wrote the article. Mm-hmm. But yeah, at the time I was stoked on photos. Like I was finally like figuring everything out, you know, like understanding what, you know, to interpret the light meter settings.
Yeah.
You know?
Light meter. Yeah. And then is this after that trip is when Losi kind of gives you a call?
Shortly after that. Yeah. I think because like, he was like, oh, you're like, consistently shooting photos, you're doing full articles. I think another thing too, at one point he was too busy to go. There was like a Chris Duncan poster in Florida, and he had me. He couldn't go, so he flew me. He literally bought me a ticket and flew me to Florida to shoot Chris Duncan poster. And I think he was like, and you know, that was in hindsight, he's like, oh, you did that.
Testing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got along super well with Chris, and he was like super hospitable, and I think that went really well. So I think that helped a lot too.
Shout out Chris Duncan.
And I'm sure Glenn definitely helped, because at that point Glenn was already working at Ride.
Yeah.
He was already at Ride.
Yeah, he vouched for you.
Like, yeah. So I'm sure.
So
you know, who knows?
You still said that
they
flew you out for a job interview, so it wasn't like set in stone. So what was that like?
I think that maybe when I was there, they might have decided to give it to me. I don't think I went home. I found out.
Okay.
But I can't remember though.
Okay. And then
It's a huge deal working at Ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I meant by
that
like
many employees, and it's like.
Ride was the biggest magazine in the world, the biggest BMX magazine in the world by far. It
was so
like
big.
We were on
Miss magazines,
Time Warner at that point.
God.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge
which
deal.
was crazy too.
Yeah.
Huge.
Remember, I mean, when I first got the job,
you guys
at
got to
Ride,
explain to people that, like that.
I mean, I don't know the exact numbers at that
crazy.
point, but like, I mean, 2001, that was like the heyday when it was like, wow, like
Little book
160 pages or something
so
like
sick.
that. And I remember when I started, it had this like little dongle that was like this big, and you had to keep it in your I'm sorry, that big. You had to keep it in your pocket, and the number changed every 30 seconds to use your password for your email. And I was like, what kind of fucking sorcery is
Forgot
this?
about that thing.
Like this is in 2001, 2002. It was a little, if you have like a code generator thing for you, like, you have two-factor when you send a thing to your
two-factor authentication.
Send a number to your phone number. If you don't want to do that, they have it. So there's like an app on your phone where you can do like a code generator thing. It was basically like that in 20 years ago, that a number changed. It talked to a satellite and the number changed every 30 seconds. So I'd have to enter my password for my email and then type in that phone number that number that changed every 30 seconds.
Why was it so confidential?
Because we were owned by AOL Time Warner.
Even though
and I remember
we
just being like,
their emails or anything, but we were still like,
I just remember looking at
Still a
being
part
like,
of that company.
Yeah.
But this is the time period where I'm like looking at it and I'm like, it's fucking talking to space right now. Like it just blew my mind, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I thought it was like tracking. I mean, it was tracking me obviously, but like I thought it was like too much. I didn't like the. Because I didn't even have a cell phone when I started to ride. Losi yelled at me after 6 months that I needed a cell phone. So
I just got one right before.
I was anti-cell phone until after
honestly,
Losi
if I
yelled
didn't
at
work
me.
at Ride, I probably would have got
It wouldn't have
one.
went long no matter what.
I was 23. I was 22.
Yeah, but I mean, still, it wouldn't have went that long.
Yeah.
No matter how anti-cell phone you are.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do it forever. Yeah.
No.
Imagine.
I would have been a late bloomer too, for sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a requirement.
Yeah. So they
You guys would be late bloomers with the chips too. Not getting a chip. I got a chip.
the one in the eyeball.
Yeah. No.
So okay, where are your parents at in all this? I mean, are they like, all right, Jeff, he shoots the photos?
They're still in New Jersey. I remember. I literally, when I moved out of the house, was straight to California.
Yeah.
There wasn't like, before then I was just there.
Yeah.
So, they were stoked. I was like the first person in the family to move out.
Yeah.
But they were always super supportive of me.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty epic. Like you started doing this thing with this cool group of guys and get a job opportunity in California not long after.
Yeah, it's definitely
had to be stoked.
It's definitely pretty wild how all the chips fell into place.
How'd you feel when you're like, I got this job and I'm gonna move to California?
Dude, I was stoked. I always I hate the winter. That's another one of the questions. At some point, someone mentioned
I have it written
when
down.
it went.
Yeah. From
it
me,
was a shadow trip to Mexico City, and someone's like, "Hey, I don't know if you remember this or not, but." They said I was complaining about the cold. Maybe I was like, we're in Mexico when it's cold. I do remember driving down there. It was fucking freezing.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know that at the time. Like, it's like, further south, but.
It's bone chilling.
Yeah, it was definitely. And also, on that trip, we drove from Austin all the way to Mexico City. And same thing. It was
far.
Slightly better accommodations than the Sombra van, but we were still in like a vehicle, and it was pretty cold.
Yeah.
Like driving through the desert and stuff.
Yeah.
Like. But yeah, apparently I complained about the cold.
Yeah, you complain about the cold all the time.
I hate the cold. I try to not complain about a lot of things, but you'll hear me when it's cold.
Same.
If it's hot out though, I won't complain.
If you ever want to piss Jeff off, play any music that's not Jeff's and make it really cold in the room. And he will be a miserable human being.
True.
That will literally
turn on the bass.
Yeah, hit both of his buttons at the same time. He's only got two of them.
My head might explode if you did both at the same time. Like I might honestly lose it.
I've never seen him get mad though, so those must be the only things.
Yeah, it really is his only two buttons. That is for sure. If you make him cold, and then you put on a bunch of music that he doesn't like, which is basically all music that's not his.
I was on a trip with him in Seattle, and it's like filled with hipsters, and I was like, you were a hipster way before hipster was a thing. He's all cool with the band t-shirt that he really went to the thing, the other people are like buying band t-shirts off the internet.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned that you mentioned recently on one of the podcasts about how I'd watch videos on mute.
Oh yeah.
And somebody was like,
factual.
I forget who told me, they're like, that's so funny. I'm like, because there was that point in time when like all like
it was all
like,
rap.
It was all rap, and it was like, it wasn't like old school hip hop either. It was like, I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what
the
term.
SoundCloud mumble rap.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm like,
What era are we talking?
It was like
not long
the
ago.
internet
like,
video.
Yeah, it was like when TCU was super dominant, and I was just like, I'm like, what is this? I can't. I just couldn't do it. you know.
But it got to the point where he didn't even give it a chance.
Yeah,
because I was
Fair
like,
enough.
he would just automatically mute every.
Oh, you
single
wouldn't even
video.
hear it.
He
What
would
song
have
you just
no
knew?
idea. He would have no idea what music it was.
Yeah.
Just it was
Well,
insane.
we were also posting so many videos.
Yeah.
We were watching so many. Sometimes
You just had to watch the riding.
I would just like
Not even realize it was muted.
trying to get my thoughts together, what to say, you know. And
Fair enough,
I knew that I had to watch 8 more videos or whatever it is. So I was just like, just kind of blinders, just like, all right. Yeah.
That's great. That
It's a
moves us
culmination
forward,
of things,
to
for
the
sure, but-
website era. I'm gonna go pee real quick.
So working at Ride, like we said, it is, you know, Ride was the biggest magazine, and in my head, and it took me a while to realize it, but like, you know, was there like a, I don't know how to phrase this question honestly, but like there was like an effect of working at Ride where people treated you differently.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, whether if it was like a rider because they wanted to get in the magazine, or an advertiser, or I mean,
sometimes good and bad.
Yeah. Sometimes people, and I definitely feel like we were pretty detached for in beginning years, like really far removed from like the advertiser discussions and all that stuff.
Yeah. I'm talking more as like photographer, you know,
Okay.
like not on the business side, but like on the rider side. Like there was, I think the first time I ever realized it was, you know, and I think I probably get some of this today where people are just nice to me off the bat, you know, instead of like if I was just somebody they didn't know in any sense, they wouldn't be nice to me.
Well,
Like-
because they probably they might already know who you are, so
Yeah.
they're already familiar with you.
Yeah.
So they're already like, well, you're obviously a nice guy, you're accomplished, you do a lot for BMX. Like, why aren't they gonna like you?
I'm not
Why won't they
obviously
be
a
nice
nice
to you?
guy.
You know, like that's how I would look at it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, I guess like, all right, so let's rewind a little bit. What was like the thoughts of how working at Ride was going to be versus the reality of it in the beginning?
I don't know if I really thought that much about it. I mean, in the beginning, all I had to do was shoot photos.
Yeah.
I mean, not even in the beginning, like for most of the time. Obviously, I had to write articles.
Website exists. It was bmxonline.com,
Yeah,
right?
Scott McElhaney.
Yeah. Yeah.
All I had to do was shoot photos all
Yep.
the time. It was incredible.
yeah.
It was so awesome. Like for years, really, it's like
Dream job still? Is that your favorite thing? Job
Oh,
you
yeah,
ever had?
for sure.
Just
Yeah.
shooting photos out there?
Yeah.
Pretty
It's like
epic.
it was like the one thing in my life that I was actually pretty good at, confident with, and I got to do it.
Yeah.
And I
It's
definitely
like daily going out with
just
people that
call-
are
yeah,
trying to get
just-
their craziest
or
tricks,
call
and you know you
people.
got it. Like,
yeah, like
that's sick.
just like we had X amount of pages, and I feel like that's all I wanted to do. So I definitely, I mean, for a couple of years there, I mean, I always continued riding, but it took a major back seat because it's like bringing the camera bag, my back hurts, whatever. But that was before I started like understanding about stretching and exercising. So I just, you know, I had bad posture, just bad life habits, like not taking care of myself. I mean, I was always vegan.
You're always on it.
And I
but-
stretched a decent amount, but I didn't really understand the correlation. And yeah, so I just shot photos. Like I was always like immediately ready to put the bike down and open the bag, you know?
I always thought, like, when I tell people about, like, kind of the heydays, I'm like, you could go out and you could do fucking, like, I could go somewhere, party all night, fucking wake up at 2 p.m., but as long as I did my, like, homework beforehand and scheduled photos for, like, one photo late afternoon, another photo for golden hour, and they worked out, and I did a good job, and the rider did rider did what they wanted, and I came back with 2 photos, I fucking crushed it. You know,
that's
like 2
4
photos that
pages.
they're
They're horizontal, those 4 pages.
Yeah, two photos that you knew like were going to be used, and then you did that like 5 days in a row, 6 days in a row, and you came back with like,
I mean, I
like
get it.
10, 15 photos that were awesome.
I get it.
Dude,
That's
you
like the
fucking
heyday, like BMX
you did a
house
great
for
job.
Me. Like you get up at 2 o'clock, but you still go get a clip or 2 in the evening. Every evening, you're fucking killing it.
Yeah, and I guess
Doing
it's the
your
same thing.
same-
Yeah, it
that's
is the
why you
same
say
thing.
that. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, that's the same shit.
Yeah, and it's like
You
can
can
have
get
it-
wasted and have a crazy night, but you plan out like, Christian, we're going to that fence hop and then the rail.
Yeah,
Cool, good day.
yeah.
If
No,
someone
it's cool.
got,
It's
someone
same
got a
exact
And
car-
then I'd be with you at the party, and then with you to shoot photos, and be like, dude, I had a good day, Losi.
And Losi's both of our boss. I can relate, guys.
Yeah.
It was, you know,
doing what you love.
certain riders for certain brands, if they got a cover, they're like good for like the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
What's that?
They got like a cover. Like they were like just getting that piece of real estate. Their sponsor was good. Like just,
Oh yeah,
you're
you
good.
made it. You made
Right.
it. Yeah.
The cover was
Yeah.
so
when you-
big.
when
man.
you-
I'm so glad I was in the magazine era. That shit was so cool.
Yeah, it meant
cool.
so much. It's almost hard for probably people these days that didn't grow up with it, and how much
It was like the BMX
resonated.
Bible every month,
Yeah, yeah.
especially Ride. That was the one.
Yeah,
Dig
yeah.
too, but Dig for Americans.
I feel
would
like
think
Dig is
Ride.
bigger now than they were when
Probably.
15
To me, it
years
was
ago
more
in
like
the US.
worldwide BMX, but
Yeah.
the rides were like America.
Yeah,
you know, like,
yeah.
in hindsight, I did have like, it was a little hard for me. Like it wasn't like I had a decision, like a hard decision. I was definitely going to do the ride job because at the time, like, I'm not going to get an opportunity like this again.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But the like Will's art direction with Dig, all of these little like insertions of like music.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
because
yeah.
Will and I like have really similar taste in music, like a lot of like Discord records and stuff, and he would insert little like song lyrics and stuff, and I'm like, I know what song that is. That's awesome. You know, like,
you know what the difference
so
was
I
is
really
that
related to that kind
Ride
of
never
stuff.
really had a graphic designer that was like a lifer.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like
Big-
it was
big
hard to
difference.
find a BMX graphic designer, art director in the magazine world, but that was really a lifelong BMX rider that wasn't kind of a fuck up, you know, like, and so we had all these different art directors over here and they were great at what they did, but they didn't have those touches that Will could put in and that he still does to this day and age. I'm not a
Yeah, they're
graphic
still
designer.
killing
This
it.
shit sucks. Like it's hard.
Will
So-
really is one of a kind.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's incredible what he's done over the years, and I tell him every time, shake his hand every single time. You know, like
Yeah, I really
he's
like
a
thank
celebrity
you
to
for
me.
what you do.
Yeah, he's a celebrity to me. Like I love it. Like he's awesome. So, when you left, I asked Jeff, like I felt like when I started at Ride, and then the years afterwards, not on the photo, not on the business side, like when you get deal with advertisers, but like as a photographer, I felt like it took me a while to realize it, but that riders treated me different. Like in the sense of like that they always wanted to stay on my good side and be nice to me. You
Oh,
know,
for
like,
sure.
and I was like asking him if
I
he
could
felt
see
any
that.
different. You know, like Gary at a point, he was like, I was like, no, that dude's cool. And he's like, no, that guy's a dick. And I'm like, what, really? And he's like, yeah, he's
Yeah.
nice to you because you work at fucking Ride. And I was
Gary
like,
says that he probably was.
and I was like,
Yeah,
oh shit.
because
I never really thought about that
photographers
before.
were there at Ride
on staff
at the time where you guys are both working there together?
us and Lucy, and then
Yeah.
some just a few retainers like Steve Buttendek.
So let's say there's three main guys that if you're on their good side, you might get a cover one day.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like
Oddly enough, the guy in question, I shot a cover of. Fucking oddly enough. So yeah. So you could do that.
Me?
Do that math. Yeah. It's you.
It was me, Gary, you son of a bitch. Damn it. Gary's always done.
Yeah. I mean, did you ever feel that? Like, was there like a post ride, like any of that stuff?
No.
Or
I never noticed
You
that.
almost seem more
Yeah.
under the radar. Like you were like out more at the parties, like friends with the cool guys. Not that you weren't, but you were always. I mean, when you always had like a family and.
no, I mean, he was just in the streets more. Like I think,
Yeah.
more where I was. I mean, I was too, but especially back then. But
I guess I just knew you more, so it's hard for me to
Yeah,
say.
you
You're in Long
definitely-
Beach, and I knew Fudger from San Diego and stuff. So that I guess my perception of it's not reality of really
well,
who you guys were to everyone.
I guess before we, keep trying to make him feel a certain way, let's rewind to you landed in Long Beach.
Right.
The scene there is incredible. It has Ardeline, it has Wilkie, it has Milligan, it has who else?
At that time, Keith Mulligan was also there.
Mulligan was there.
Adam Banton lived there. Dave Mavro, I think.
Damn.
Shout out Maverick.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he lived there.
Shout out Maverick Graham either way.
Why am I drawing a blank? Dave Parrick.
Peric.
Wow.
Parrick was there.
Yeah.
Which
Heino.
Heino.
Wow.
Yeah, Parrick's like my boyhood idol.
Sorry, I should have said Heino first. Truthfully.
But Parrick alone, like it was literally like, he was kind of on the outs. He was getting ready to move to Austin, but
Yeah.
he technically did live in Long Beach when I was there for a minute. There was more people. But
of course, yeah. But I mean, it was like super pro town.
Chad Johnston.
McAvoy lived there for Transworld BMX.
It's probably like 20 people you're not remembering.
Yeah, 100%.
For
Sure.
Yeah.
But like it described the world of Long Beach, because I always when we talk about Long Beach, I tell people like it's like a coastal California city without beach culture, because it has a break from the oil rigs, so there's no waves in Long Beach. So it has no surf culture, no beach culture, nothing.
But it has a long beach.
Yeah.
Hence the name. Like it's literally like, the mileage of the bike path, whatever, it's longer than some other communities, I guess. But I remember the first time I went to Long Beach, I didn't live in California yet. I stayed in San Diego with Ryan Fudger and Jimmy Buckins for like 2 weeks.
In the hood, City Heights.
Yeah. And we drove up to ASR ASR, yeah. And in Long Beach. And I remember driving to Ocean Boulevard, and it's just like you see the bluff and the water and like the sun, like the palm tree lined streets, and the way it comes into downtown. I'm like, this city is sick. Like where are we? I just right away I thought Long Beach was awesome. And then fast forward, when I got the job at Ride, I asked Glenn, I was like, where should I, because their office was in Tustin next to Santa Ana. I was like, Glenn, where should I move? Like he's like, the most East Coast feeling city near the office is Long Beach. And so I've been in Long Beach ever since. Like I lived in the same building as Glenn for 5 years. And then I moved over. I actually lived in 3 different apartments in the same building. I lived on each floor.
I know the building, yeah.
But that's I won't go into all those reasons why. But yeah, and I moved to my current spot, and I've been there for like 18 years now or something.
Yeah.
In the same spot.
And you love it, obviously.
I love it. Like if I live out my years in Long Beach, like I'm stoked.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But the scene though, it's come and gone a little bit. It's always been strong. I mean, Long Beach is like the 7th largest city in California, but it feels like a microcosm. I mean, it's a city, but there's a lot of bike riders, because like you think of San Diego, but it's like a county, and it's like sprawling. Same thing with LA, it's like a sprawl, but Long Beach is, all the riders are confined like just near the coast.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit. So it's like now there's a whole new generation, like the Bottle Kids and like all the Sunday Odyssey guys. Like there's quite a few still.
Yeah. Does a scene, was it when you're there, you get immersed in it? Are you like, how do you start shooting photos? Like, what's your role at Ride? Like, I don't know. How does that stuff evolve over time?
It's funny, when I first moved to California and got into the office, Losi gave me like a list of local riders that it was basically like mostly, I would say it was pretty much all upcoming riders who were like coming in or knocking on, because people would pop in the office,
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say if they were or not, but they were people Mark knew who are younger, who are upcoming, that he just didn't have time to shoot with, because he was going to Greenville and going to events, and he was obviously shooting with like Hoffman and Mira, and it was like Gary, Ben Snowden, Austin Coleman. It must have been like 20 people. It was quite a long list.
Yeah.
But and yeah,
just with phone numbers or what?
I don't even know if there was on there or not. Maybe they were.
Yeah.
But it was really just, hey, this is basically like, hey, here's your first month's work. Just call these people and go out and shoot photos. Wow. And I remember going to shoot with Gary the first time. Out of all of them, that was the one that was the most lasting impression, because no offense to anyone else on the list, but he was probably the one I wanted to shoot with the most. Even though I don't really think I knew much of him at that point, but I think I heard the story of like him riding to the
from in Florida,
to the Merritt Skate Park. And I thought that was the fucking coolest thing ever.
For the people that don't know, he rode 30 miles because Perenni didn't pick him up from the airport, and he duct taped his bike bag or all his bags to his back, and then rode 30 miles on the freeway to the contest. Yeah,
I mean, dude,
that's too funny,
right? I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So, and he probably crushed it at the contest.
Probably
won.
Yeah.
He has a great podcast.
But yeah, that was like,
it was our first revamped podcast.
We shot like a Reuben wall ride, and then like a bottom side ice on this like asphalt bank, maybe like a wall ride table. But that was like the first time I saw someone doing a Reuben wall ride on street, and that was still like a really cutting edge trick at the time.
Yeah. Was it downtown? Was it Flash?
It
Flash
was
color photo?
It was all color stuff. It was like
on the Pelican wall.
No, I don't think I ever actually got a chance to ride Pelican ever.
Oh.
It was an asphalt bank underneath like a freeway.
Oh, I think I was there.
I do remember you having a map on your wall with like pins
of all the spots.
Oh, that's awesome.
Every single spot. Yeah.
Being really stoked on that.
Yeah, I cut up a Thomas Brothers guide and made taped it together and pinned every single spot that we had.
And then I remember, I think Sure lived in the closet underneath the steps.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he had like a piece of wood. So he slept on top. It was like a bunk and he had stuff underneath it.
Hanford House?
The Hanford House,
Yeah.
Mini ramp in the backyard
Actually,
at that point?
that was after. When I met Gary, it was an apartment. Second floor apartment.
Oh, Lemon Grove.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was right when Gary turned 18 then. Because I'm a year and a half older than him. So yeah, that was right by San Diego State by the transitions. Like the ones that Corey put the curb on the top and stuff.
That's Lemon Grove.
Kind of, yeah. It's Lemon Grove-ish. Yeah. No, it's not Lemon Grove. My bad.
The Gary one was like the standout one. I was like,
Yeah.
that was cool.
Yeah.
But thanks for putting him on the list, Mark. No offense.
Yeah,
to
he just left you like a list of pros.
Yeah,
near
well,
you.
at that time,
Like, here you go.
they were
These are
still just like,
coming
I guess
up.
like, yeah, like, you know.
Wow.
But yeah, I can't, there was quite a few riders on there, but those are the ones.
I mean, it
that
makes
were
sense if he's like, my next month is like stacked. He's like, these are dudes
Yeah.
that are like the ones that you should shoot photos with. You're guaranteed to get something.
Yeah, that's basically
like
it.
It makes sense. So I did
What an
send you
amazing time.
I did send you some questions. I feel like this is a good time to run through those questions I sent you
And drink one more
beforehand.
of these, but
you can drink one more. I think there's some in that
5
box.
more.
Yeah. Well, you could drink 5 more and then stay.
Yeah.
Let the cuddle with Rue
Does
the
anyone
cat
else
or
want
Kurt.
one?
I'll take another one of
bring
these
them
gold
over.
ones, please.
I think there's only 2 left, but I'll have a warm. There's cold ones in the garage, maybe if the garage is cold. Is there 2? One for you, one for Dennis.
Oh, thanks.
So I sent you some questions beforehand, and I know these questions are always really hard to answer on the fly, so that's why I sent them to you beforehand, so you could think about them.
Man, I really practiced my spontaneity for these answers.
Yeah, no, it's all right. It's good to have it sorted out. So, your favorite person to shoot with all time?
So I I definitely cannot name one person.
Yeah.
But sort of like era specific, like
Yeah, you could run through like kind of generations,
like
pre-ride.
when I was growing up in New Jersey, I'd say it was Grimaldo Duran. Just because he at that time, I mean, we wouldn't really speak about him much, but man, he's incredible.
Yeah.
And even back then, like in the first animal video, like he had a last part in what was it? Wait, no, what video did he have last part in? No, it might have been Vic. I mean, I can't remember now. I'm usually really good at these things.
We'll play
He
this,
had a
but he
last
just
part.
has like
Yeah,
he had
I
such.
filmed this. Yeah, he's like,
fuck it,
and he just kept going. Oh yeah, this is yeah. But that hop was so high, you do it backwards.
Yeah, it was
And
insane.
And that bike, was probably like 40 something pounds. But yeah, he just.
I remember being so psyched the first time I met Grimaldo. He is such a fucking energy ball.
Grimaldo is the first person I ever saw do a hand around real life. He used to call me Professor Jeff, but he would say Professor Yeff because because I knew everything about BMX. Like I could tell you.
Oh, that was so sick.
That was
everything he did was like so big and like
what the
at
hell?
the time like we were.
I heard you say his name and I had never heard that name before.
No.
Nope.
Oh
Yeah, Grimaldo.
I rode that spot with
Newark.
De Santos.
Yeah, Grimaldo was
West Coast kid. My first video was "Please Kill Me."
Really?
Yeah,
Shit.
mean, that's kind of the era.
We should run through
I'm
some old
always learning
videos.
stuff on here.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's
he was
sick.
nasty with the
And
switch stuff too.
His kid
for
rips.
sure.
He
Real
still
nasty
rips,
with
and
it.
his kid rips
he named
too.
his son after George Santos.
Yeah.
Oh. All those first rails, I don't know which way he spins and grinds. He's so good both ways.
Yeah. He has a real mean 1-footed table. Like he honestly has like a Vic style 1-footed table, dare I say. Like he really just flicks the foot ass straight. Like holy shit. And
that
that-
was so
No,
good.
not dare you say that
It's
was.
really hard to air
was.
off those banks because they roll over. Like,
Yeah, he seems like he can find crazy pop out of nothing.
Yeah.
That was so good. You said that, and it was like such a bold statement, and then Geraldo just delivered.
That couldn't have been more perfect.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy's so sick.
Yeah, he's.
So what year is this?
This is all like 98, 99.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is insanely
Yeah.
ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So,
Dude, we could go. I mean,
we
dude,
could watch
whoa.
Vic
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Yeah, filming
sure.
this video is. I
knew Vic for sure
like,
because he was
I-
like Chris Herman's favorite writer.
Yeah.
There's Nina. That's what Nina. I first met
Oh,
Nina
shit.
with
He's sick.
Vic.
Really?
Vic brought Nina because they're both on Long Island. He brought Nina one day to Union Square. He was like, "Yep, this is Nina. She's a chick. She rides. She's cool." You know, like, all right, cool. You know, like, and Nina actually dated Will Talbin.
Oh, she
And
did.
then, yeah, and then eventually Nina moved to Ohio. And obviously, you know, living in Ohio, riding all the parks. I mean,
Became Nina.
became
Yeah.
Nina. Like,
Yeah. That was so.
But yeah, she's that's
so
why
sick.
that's why she's so good at riding street.
Makes sense.
You know, like she started out there. I am.
Hey, Vivitar.
Wow. A little yoga pose.
Oh yeah.
For anyone who never
What
shot
was
with
that?
he gets wild in those poses.
Yeah, that's what the
Oh yeah, someone
the
asked.
Vish podcast who's like play is he shooting photos or is he dead?
Oh yeah.
So you shot you filmed most of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I didn't for some reason I'm not putting that like in my bank of like Jeff filmed this. That's awesome.
I'm definitely really proud of the fact that I filmed this video.
Oh,
Like,
you
it's a
should
big-
be. You should be.
But
I was such a fan. I was such a fan of this video and such a fan of Vic Iola. I remember he came to San Diego and I did this like sprocket grind on a ledge that was like really tall. And you know, sprocket grinds you can kind of cheat, you know, and he double pegged it. And I was so blown away. Like literally like could not believe, didn't think it was possible. And
So-
I went back.
It's funny you say that because there's a similar story. Vic grinded double peg the ledge in Austin. Excuse me.
That was crazy.
And
that was sick.
The ledge was so it was a photo in like FNet or something. The ledge was so tall. I won't say who, but inside with Pro at the time really caught. I didn't hear it firsthand. Swore up and down that it was like fake because they like there's no way you can hop that high.
Yeah.
Like it was.
makes
it was,
sense.
It was
Yeah.
high.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Predator grind. I can tell you the story of the Predator grind.
Yes,
how I got
please
the
do.
name.
Please do.
So the day before we filmed that,
Was that the first one
That
ever?
was
It
the
was the
first
first
one.
one ever.
Yeah.
First one
It was
ever
on a
done.
legit kink
He did
rail.
it on a kinked rail.
Whoa.
I drove.
Back then, there was no practice. You had to do everything on real spots. There was no skate
Edwin
park
and I
rails.
drove to Long Island to film with Vic. I bought this Volvo off my brother's girlfriend's ex-girlfriend's brother.
Mhm.
It like backfired. It barely rode, but we got up there. And in the morning, Vic basically just was watching Predator like nonstop. I remember the scene when like they do like the hand clap, the
Yeah.
handshake, and they
Yeah.
both flex. He's like, "Watch this," and he like watched it over. Anyway, so then the next day when we go there, you know the music in Predator when you're in the jungle, it's like dun 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 dun. I can't
That's
reproduce it, but Vic was like making that sound as he's riding up to the rail. Like literally right before I did it, he's like the sound when they're like in the jungle. There's like this little beat, this
Just
little drum
obsessed
beat.
with that movie.
Yeah, and they call it the Predator grind.
Where is it? That one. Dun 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 dun.
That's it.
Yeah.
yeah. He's like
Dun, 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 dun.
And then he fucking- I honestly, I swear,
Damn.
I think he did it like. I think the first time he got over, he just did it. It wasn't one of those things that took a long time.
Yeah.
Like and the crazy thing about Vic is like, so Vic's one of those guys that, I want to say it was Will Talbin again. People were talking about this guy Vic, and there's other guy called Neffa. I never met Neffa.
Neffa.
I don't even know. I'm assuming it's how you spell it. but I
Isn't
don't-
that Will Taubman's like DJ name?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
I'll let you finish.
but they're like, oh, Vic, backwards rails, like 180 out bar spin, like all these things. Like, so finally meet him, and he was like at the time he was working in he's driving a forklift in like a warehouse. He rode on the weekends. He had no interest in getting filmed. He did not want to be documented. He just didn't really tell me why.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, and then at some point, a few months later, we're out riding and he's like trying to do this like backward kinker, which at the time was like
insane.
Yeah. So like, he's like in the process of figuring out, hey, can I just like set up my flashes while you're trying it? If I get the photo, I get the photo. If not, I don't. He's like, all right. So, he's, stadium coach ride. So I'm just running around, setting everything up. And I got the photo before he pulled it. And then he pulled it. And then the photo ran a ride. And he was like super stoked. And that was kind of like broke the seal.
Yeah.
And then, I ended up getting to film with him, and so he would definitely have some like temper tantrums and lose it here and there. Because he eventually, he got hooked on, he knew what he's capable of. And he wanted to like reach that and pull these things he knew he could do. So it was kind of like taking the fun out of it.
Yeah.
I think the whole reason why I didn't want to do it to begin with. But at that point, he was already getting sponsored and getting hooked up. And,
obligations became real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the time he ended up leaving, he wrote for S&M for a short stint and stuff. But I was already in California. He was still in Long Island. I don't know why he ended up moving on. But at any point, he definitely got into it. And I'm stoked that I was a little persistent with like the photos and
yeah. It's sick to see him. We've talked about it recently, but sick to see him back on the bike because his Instagram account shared with his girlfriend and stuff like that is like adorable. You know, like
his wife.
His wife. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's incredible.
All right. So did we ever even answer the question?
So Grimaldo was Grimaldo was my first for the longest time.
Yeah.
Just because what he would do.
I mean, well, like we saw basically that was
like a lot of my favorite photos at the time were all in New York. It's always of him. He would just do something that was like unexpected, very obviously this is going to be a cool photo, And then after him, I'd say Gons.
Okay.
Same way, like, he'd wear some weird outfits or have a weird looking bike. We shot just like a nose pick on like a shopping cart on a bank.
Yeah.
But his bike looks so cool. He just did like one-footed one because he kind of.
Do you still have a photo site?
Yeah, but no, there's no Gons photos
I know,
on there, fortunately. But I think it's Jeff Z Photo. But he would, because I feel like he kind of rode a mix of like Dirt Bros style, but then like a little more like modern street. Because he was really good at jumping tricks on street, like just like 1-foot tables, like Grizzairs, like no-handers, like. But he could also, do some peg stuff like grinds to 180s and stuff, But yeah, so Gons, and then Behringer. Definitely met Behringer. Like, I loved going to Utah. Anytime I went there, like, even though Matt's house was like riddled with like flies and it was like kind of nasty to stay there, to be honest, like I didn't mind it. Like because his neighbors had horses on both sides. Him and his neighbors didn't really do their dishes. It was a BMX house.
This is your photo, right? This sums up.
Yeah. That one is so funny. So he painted. So it was cold out. So he had the windows closed.
So you were miserable.
He painted everything yellow, and the fumes were so insane. Matt was like killing his brain cells in there.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I remember I went with him to like an Army Navy store, which we had in New Jersey, but going to one in Utah, it's like a whole different thing. There's like,
I bet,
empty like missile cannon. You go in the back, and there's like shit, like missile shells and all this crazy stuff, like old
stuff
Army
they shouldn't
tanks,
sell,
like crazy. I'm like, this place is incredible, and it's so much bigger. And yeah, he did get that yellow poncho thing. He went to Army Navy store. But yeah, shooting with Matt, like he always
delivered the entertainment and the wildness.
Just really, really cool ideas, like his yard and everything. Like I loved it. Like, and just the absolute best attitude.
Yeah.
Like just anybody who has like the epitome of what BMX and freestyle is. Like,
did you shoot that?
I did, yeah. And that one was funny because it's like right off the freeway, and like when he landed it, because he was looking at it forever.
Yeah.
He's like, give me the finger. It's like, yeah, finally. Like, it was so great. Like, yeah, it's just so everything. And then like all the spots out there, like going to this place called the Utah Tree. It's in the middle of the desert. It's like these little eggshell things.
Oh, I know this
like
photo.
So many cool spots. And he had really cool ideas, and just like, not like a bad
So
vibe in his body.
I'm definitely going to need you to send some photos.
Oh, I figured that might happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Behringer, and then I had a pretty lengthy list, but after that, Josh Hino when I was in California for sure.
Yeah.
Hino was like, how can I put it? Like, he's such an intense human.
Mm-hmm.
When I first met him, to be honest, I didn't really want to be around him because the way he speaks, everything is just very like, what the fuck, guy? Like I
was waiting for it.
It was just like, I didn't know if he was like happy or mad or what. But eventually, I actually found humor in it. I'm like, man, this guy is so wound up and crazy and intense. And I would just kind of like laugh at myself, and it became more of like entertainment. And then I was totally fine with it. But the stuff he would do for photos was always so wild. He had so many crazy ideas, and a lot of times it would take him a long time to do it, but he'd always do it first try. One time he was like, that's it, like 45 minutes of run-ups, but when I do it, I can do it, I get it done. I'm like, hey, whatever works, man. Like, you're doing this crazy shit, like, but meanwhile, you're like 45 minutes of him like looking like he's gonna go, and he doesn't. You're like, I'm like, when he finally goes, I hope I'm as ready as I was an hour ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that is stressful.
Yeah, because it's like
He did bangers.
Yeah, he did bangers.
Dude,
yeah.
he's so sick.
Did you shoot the Queen Mary?
I didn't. No,
Was that Losey?
Losey shot that one.
Okay.
We talked about it for a long time, but
Yeah.
I want to say when he finally did it, I just wasn't around.
Yeah. No, he chose Leslie to do it. I'm just joking.
But the Queen Mary one's funny, yeah, because he used to ride for Specialized, and they flew him out and to do shows or whatever in this hotel, and they booked him out there, and then he saw it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's like, "What?" And ever since that time, because I think he still lived in New Hampshire at the time, because that's where he's from.
He like changed the game with like how big of stuff you could do.
Yeah,
I
I remember that Gap's Ledge you looked at, and like and that was a Hino spot. And I was like, oh wow, like you're looking at
Speaking
Hino
of the
level
banks
stuff.
that Corey put that thing on, that's
Look at
where
that.
the one that Gary and I lived next to that Jeff came down for.
That was
Like,
that was my
Josh, I know-
first digital cover, I think. And I remember when we were shot that the feature when you can zoom in and look at the photo, it just looks soft no matter what. And obviously it's like a JPEG of a JPEG.
It's like a 6 megapixel camera at that point.
Yeah. And I just didn't know. I didn't understand the technology yet. And I'm like, he was shooting a bunch of them. Because I'm like, it still looks soft.
And that's
I'm
hard.
Like,
that's hard with Hino.
yeah. And I'm like,
he's like, what the fuck, guy?
Yeah.
Shout out Josh Hino.
Yes,
I
that guy's
love
riding.
Josh Hino. Him and I, when I moved to Long Beach, it was the tail end of his time period there, but like he helped switch a turbo on my car. Like Josh and I,
really good with cars,
Josh and I became pretty close friends in a quick period of time, but he wasn't not on any sort of like business photo level. I never shot a single photo of him as far as I remember. So it was always super cool to hang out with Josh.
Yeah.
I've always been such a huge fan.
Very intense human, but awesome at the same time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Hope you're doing good.
I shot that Osiris thing right there. Not a very good photo to the right.
Why can't I?
That, he was like the Van
this one,
Homan
right?
kind of guy,
Like that little black and white one.
That right there. Oh,
that was
okay.
like a frame out of a sequence though.
Yeah.
I feel like he was so ahead of his time. Like he almost never got the recognition that he really should have.
Yeah.
Like he had a lot of sick sponsors and stuff, but like when I go back and watch his stuff, I'm like, dude, he was on another level. Like the West Coast, I don't know where he's from, but he was like in California, like the Van Homan over here. Like he was doing crazy shit that nobody else was doing.
Really good at riding vert.
Yeah.
And he was really good at riding like small technical stuff too. He just didn't really film it, but he
is one of the best. Like,
and then like when his signature frame came out, he was like super
that's not Josh Hino.
Intuitive about like the specs and everything. Like I just think that sometimes he was just such an intense human, and just the way he would deliver his thoughts.
I wonder what he's doing now. He's probably doing something crazy.
He refabs old barns. He's from New Hampshire. He's back in New Hampshire. There's a lot of barns. Yeah, I think he just helps people like getting them back up. Because there's lots of ones that are super old, like centuries old. I don't know, deteriorating. And I think I believe it's what he does. He refabs old barns.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Because even like the first do tour I went, like first do tours, my dad would go with me, and he was just so, I didn't even really realize that was a Josh Hino from the videos, you know, because he was riding vert, and to me I was like, who's that guy? Like it was confusing because I thought he was crazy street rider, down to Feebles and stuff, and he would go to the do tours and make money riding vert, and he was just like my dad's best friend. Like they were homies, and
awesome.
you know, like just that just shows how good of a guy he is. 'Cause he had no clue who I was or my dad, but he's just like, oh, another guy with good vibes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, shout out to him. Good.
All
dude.
right, and then
Tom White is another one.
Tom White.
Yeah,
Fuck.
Tom White, like just another guy. He didn't do anything small.
Yeah.
Everything was just big. He didn't really have like small trick skills. It was just like confidence. He was really good at falling. Like he knew how to get out of falls. Like he would do like the somersault, jump up stuff. Like he got out of the gnarliest situations, and he was always unscathed. You know. But yeah, definitely Tom. Like a lot of stuff I shot with him, I'm always super stoked on.
What's the Navaz one where he
Left, right.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for, because that opening.
Probably a lot of pure adrenaline. Like he's about to do something, and you're just like,
Oh yeah, definitely. And another question further down about the being scared things. I don't want to get too far into it, but to be honest, most of the time, I wasn't scared for the rider's well-being. I never really shot with a lot of people who were like a loose cannon, who were like butting where they can chew. It always seemed like if I was working with, I kind of knew that they knew what they were doing. It just always, that was one of the things I was really scared about. But
Rightfully so.
But I because obviously no matter how skilled and confident they are, like dumb, unforeseen things can always happen. But even with you, Dennis, like I can tell, I can see like they know what they're doing. They're super confident. So I'm usually more stressed about myself, like not fucking up. I'm like, this is a big move. This is like, they're only going to do it one time. I'm like, I can't fuck it up.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm just like,
it's got to be
don't
hard because
fuck it up. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, if it's a sequence,
a lot of people who do big
it's one
stuff
thing,
too.
but-
Like I've related to the high note thing where sometimes I look at stuff for so long, and I'm forgetting you're even shooting a photo. I'm sure Hino is, and I'm sure Tom White is. So when we're ready to go, we say go in our head, but you didn't hear that.
yeah,
like
yeah.
that is crazy.
You have to know,
Yeah.
And sometimes
And it's
you can
brutal.
read someone, you know, and you're my memory serves me correct. You kind of make it known this is the one, but
Yeah.
But he'll make it known that it's the one for 15 times too. You know, I'm not talking shit, but
Yeah,
like he starts putting money on it, and generally that means it's going to happen. But then also sometimes it doesn't. You know, like, and it just
Yeah.
kind of goes that way.
I also
You know,
think
like,
both things we
yeah.
share sequences. It tends to be, so I probably just have a lot of roll-ups, and that's fine because at least it's a sequence.
Yeah,
so
and it
it's
used to
like-
be different back in the day too,
yeah.
because it had to be a flash photo. And now you can
Things have changed.
really manipulate photos enough where it almost kind of looks like there's a flash, or you can open up so much where it's like cheating in comparison. And there's nothing that like truly replicates like a proper flash photo, but
Totally,
it
yeah.
does, because you darken the skies and like it and just do incredible things. But you can get kind of 70% the way there, you know, like
and a lot. I feel like a lot of writing too nowadays. Like sometimes it's just sequence is just it just might be needed just for some other reason. Like, but
yeah. Well, so here, I have this question, and
So Tom White though, that's where we're gonna end it on the favorites.
there's
is there more?
Yeah.
All right, run through them quicker.
I know I'm forgetting some now. Gary was one of them.
Gary. Okay.
Gary,
Never heard of him.
Dakota,
Dakota. Fuck yeah.
Kevin Peraza.
Peraza.
Any event, like I look forward to shooting Kevin. Any event.
Oh, of course.
I'm like, oh God,
Yeah.
I'm going to get like
Yeah.
20 great photos of Kevin.
I mean, Pat too. Pat was in the same, in
Yeah.
those triples ones where you're like, oh, yay, another flip whip or another fucking
God.
flip, and
Yeah.
then you'd
They're-
have
they're
all
dudes
these
who can
photos of
create
Kevin and Pat.
Beautiful
and it's
photos
like-
in between all the sequence kind of stuff.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can't get
So-
without a sequence.
Yeah.
And they just rode the contest. They rode practice different too. They were just having fun,
They were
doing
just
different
there's-
tricks
yeah,
every
just, like,
single
stuff.
time
And I get it. Like some riders, they're there
to do their tricks.
to do their tricks and to do well. So they're getting used to the jumps and, you know, but yeah, just like straight flips, flip whips. You just like,
Yeah.
you know.
Sorry
and
for
they're-
throwing Pat in there, but that was
no, it's
like
fine, of course.
I loop them in when you're like talking about event stuff, because you would just get different stuff.
Yeah.
And that was like, that's as a photographer in a sea of tail whips, you're looking for something else.
Yeah.
Like, so, I've had this thought, and I don't know if we've ever really discussed it, but thoughts on how the disappearance of magazines have tamed riding down, meaning lots of people sent things at that time period, and then it would produce, this is the bike riding that I need to do. I need to do bigger things that were photo-like tricks. And then as time has gone on, then things, because it meant there was like a chance of getting in the magazine, and then how that has trickled down to make riding smaller or safer or more technical.
I feel like that also,
I don't know if that's a big jump or not.
The advent of filming, because I feel like now it's like so many tricks are filming tricks and not really photo tricks.
Yeah, but I think the advent of like you think of just jumping down shit is like kind of passe in a weird way. Like, I mean, there's obviously people that still do it, but like it's not the predominant version of biker. You just listed off a bunch of people that were, I mean, Grimaldo maybe being the exception, but Tom White was like a photographer rider.
Oh, 100%.
And it's like Behringer is painting himself yellow, and it's like creating that moment, and he's riding off a roof and grinding this thing. And it's like, yes, it's a video clip too, but the major impact was that single image.
Yeah.
Totally. I don't know. I just always think that it has had like the disappearance of magazines has had like a greater effect on like what is the popular version of BMX more so, because I feel like skaters still like fucking do wild ass shit on a regular basis because they have Thrasher and they have all that stuff.
They have Thrasher, yeah.
I think BMXers still do
of course,
wild shit, but as far as like thinking photo as important of the clip, no.
Yeah.
But they're with the skating and other industries, they might have a magazine that still comes out once a month that's thick.
Yeah, that they send it for,
The Skater of the Year, Thrasher, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's not a fully developed, like, here's my reason, but I feel like it does. And, obviously as Instagram comes up, it's like technical stuff, becomes what you see on a regular basis and people emulate that. But
I see what you're saying, though. Like Behringer painting himself yellow for the photo. And
he probably wouldn't do that for a video part opener.
No.
When I got a chance to do a ride interview, I was thinking of like the interview and then like to get the clips for the video part.
Yeah.
Where now it's like,
well, El Toro, you tried to whip El Toro for a photo and didn't film it. That really like sums up the era that it was. It was like, I want the photo.
Yeah. Now photos are sick though. Like I feel like there was a time where I like didn't even think about them for a long time. You know, when the magazines were not as big and essentially like gone, besides the Dig book and the littler small ones. But people don't even see those unless they're like really into it.
Yeah.
Ride was like put in your face, like, you know, like in the big magazines at the time, like, look who got the cover. Like it was the sickest thing. It was crazy.
Yeah, Barnes and Noble and every bike shop, and not as easy now.
Not as easy.
But I feel like there is that the photo, the print, like photos are making, not that they ever died, but I think that they are making some sort of comeback. Like we
got silent.
Silent, yes. We got to talk about that, yeah. And then even just Instagram, using photos and people learning how to shoot for Instagram rather than like thinking of like print. Like I feel like photographers have gotten better at that.
It's cool to see events happen and people are shooting photos, and you see, but
in the magazines and the books and all that. Like it's just not that, but it is. I feel like returning to importance.
Yeah. I think it's it like swung one way and it's kind of swinging back where it's not where it was. But
I've caught myself like the last few times like out shooting and stuff is like for photos, you know, and I'm like, ooh, it's been a long time just shooting photos. Yeah. And it's fun. Yeah. Because you look at shit so differently.
Yeah.
It's so different. It's so fun because the other day we did that and it was just like such a breath of fresh air. Like, oh, this would be a stupid clip, but damn, you could get a cool photo of this.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It was cool.
We'll skip around a little bit, but story of a photo that you blew that was not recoverable, since you said that.
Yeah, I thought a lot about that one, and I'm not by any means saying it didn't happen, but I couldn't think of one.
No?
Nice.
I mean, like, it's like...
What about one where like the dude was kind of bummed?
Well, I feel like I definitely, when I would go out, it's like your one job is to get the photo. So if it was like something that I was really worried about timing, maybe I would just shoot a sequence. Even like a bar spin, like it's like obviously I shot hundreds of bar spins lit up with flashes and stuff, but there was one with major consequence. But that's not true though. Even like Scotty's ride cover, that bar spin onto that narrow thing into 6-5 ditch, like, I mean, I was probably shitting myself hoping I got it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I honestly, I think like he did it a couple times because he wanted to ride off the end of it. but I think the first one he shot, I didn't time it well.
Yeah.
But he didn't ride off the end. So I was like, he's going to do it again. I'm like, all right, I guess that's good.
Oh my God. That's the best thing in the world. Like, I'm not going to ask you to do it again. If you want to do it again, please, I will take that gift.
But it's not like, and then obviously there's things like motion blur where I'm like, I'm not happy how it turned out, but it's like motion blur. Sometimes it's like, it's like I had the fast flash durations, I had the high shutter speed, but sometimes it's just like I did not pan hard enough. It was like back in the film days, you know?
Not the best quality, but that's the one we're talking about.
Yeah. And it was like, something like that. It's like, obviously I could have shot that not flashes, but it wasn't going to be as good.
No, of course not. Yeah.
But there were times when, and also, if
photo.
like, if like there's a risk getting kicked out, I'm not going to, it's like
the photo doesn't turn out as good as you wanted it to, but at least you got it.
It's like, am I going to set up 4 flashes and get us kicked out? Or am I going to shoot it black and white, get the photo, and then ride it? I'm not going to serve my ego of shooting the way I want to, and then the rider can't get it done.
Yeah, you get nothing in the end.
Yeah, and then we all lose, right? So there was definitely times when I would just shoot a black and white sequence, if composing it for a still, but shooting a sequence so I wouldn't miss the timing.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was like the fallback. So it's like, and I knew how to expose film properly. So it's like, like I said, I'm sure it happened, but I can't remember one.
Yeah. Scariest photo you ever shot?
That was another hard one. Back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, I feel like everyone, for the most part, I hardly ever found myself shooting with someone who I was like totally unfamiliar with, who was just like maybe stepping into a league that was bigger than where they should be.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some people, but they probably weren't trying the scariest thing. Maybe it's like a kid who did an 8 stair and now he's trying like a 15 stair and you're not sure if you can get on it, but like, but I mean, there was things like Drew Zansen's truck driver in the Glendale ditch. Like, I'm sure I was definitely scared. I mean, that thing is huge. When Morgan Wade looped Baldy, I was definitely like, I mean, I know he did the other loops already in the parks, but still, I was like,
something happens here.
Yeah. But again, me also stressing like, I can't fuck up this photo.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm so immersed in what I'm doing that, and like I said, like it's Morgan Wade. Like, he's the tank. If he were to fall, he's probably going to be okay because he's indestructible. Yeah. And I've seen him. I already knew what he's capable of. So, and then
let's talk about this one a little bit more. Obviously, I think we've talked about the almost did it again. Oh my! It was blocked by the microphone right here.
That's such a sick photo.
We cropped in on it because I think the merit of the entire thing is like how truly massive the entire bank is, right?
Yeah, it was hard.
So
it was hard shot horizontal.
I remember we battled on like how to like crop this for the cover. It's like a thumbnail these days. We're like, do you want the action big? Or you want the action, you want to show how big it is. So, and then he's wearing like a fake tattoo sleeves or something like that, right?
Oh, I don't remember.
I remember that. I remember that's on the cover. Like you can kind of very pixelated versions of it where he looks like.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. I don't know if he was trying to,
Bazanzin humor.
If he was being silly to try to dumb down the seriousness in his mind or what.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I even asked him about that because maybe I didn't want to I can't remember.
You said you were a little bit scared. I mean, was it 1 run-up, 2 run-ups, 0 run-ups? Drew was a different breed at that point. He was
definitely a different breed.
Yeah.
You don't remember? I think we were there that long. I can't even remember if he 3'd it straight without doing the trick or not.
What's this in? What's the footage in?
It's just a weird random edit from just like the photos from this.
I think Fat Tony filmed it. It was after an event, and it was me, him, and Fat Tony.
It's like a Drew Bazansin.
I'm pretty sure.
It's like all the photos from this interview in a crazy edit with the terrible song. Like super random. No video part.
Is it maybe on the Ride YouTube?
Maybe. It came out, it was all filmed for that.
Huh. I filmed that one. Yeah, that would be nice to find one of these days, huh?
Yeah, who knows what that was on? Drew's done so much crazy stuff.
Okay, not that scary then. If you can't remember it, then it ain't that. The pixels,
bangers from issue
the
170.
pixels. Oh my lord! You know the sad thing is, no, not the sad thing, and actually it's slightly exciting.
Oh,
Is that I probably have the tape of this somewhere in my garage.
I remember another
It
one.
actually looks better than I thought it would with that thumbnail.
Oh, Chandler.
I guarantee I saw this, but I do not remember this.
It was a random one.
I mean, it's funny because it's like the Scotty clips from his ride cover are in doorstep.
Yeah. Zach filmed them.
Zach filmed them and they ended up, and we sat on them for like 4 years and they're in doorstep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is our, industry, Long Beach. We suck at bike riding, but we love it.
That was my best bike riding ever. I was 36.
Sorry, my bad.
And that was my resurgence when I actually was like, all right, I'm going to cut my teeth with photos for a while. I'm going to leave the bag at home a little bit more and actually ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm that was that. I feel like I'm not the only person. I'm sure Ben probably feels the same way, but his part was probably his like,
Yeah, I don't. Where is this? I'm enjoying.
I wonder if I filmed this stuff.
You might have, because this was from photos.
I shot a lot. I might have filmed all this stuff.
This is up in his hometown.
Maybe at that point we were like,
I was there
trying to do web videos at the same time or something.
This is a weird era.
I think I filmed all this stuff.
Does it ever freak you out when you're like you've lived so much that you're like,
I wasn't dead there, Vish, or sleeping. I was just. That's how my shirts look vintage, by the way, because I lay in the ground a lot. His ramp was cool. It was in a barn on the second floor.
So it was
at his parents' house. And yeah, watching him ride that thing was pretty incredible. Oh, that wall ride in Arizona.
It's funny though. You guys went to Nova Scotia to ride like 2 terrible spots, and then go to Arizona and just get bangers.
I think it was part of it. We're like, well, we should get something
back home.
Yeah.
Arizona,
I remember it was pretty awesome just to get to go to Nova Scotia.
A little Vegas clip.
Well, he rode through these pillars right here.
Yeah, what's Nova Scotia like?
This thing is way gnarlier.
It was so hard.
It's so hard to.
I was like, I couldn't figure out what to do to show everything in a photo. Obviously, I lit it up a lot. Yeah. Everyone under 18 has to wear a helmet, or even I think everybody. I remember we were riding around and like random people were like, "Put on a helmet!"
Wow.
And like I don't know if maybe
Canada was supposed to be nice.
If everybody in Nova Scotia was supposed to wear a helmet, I don't remember.
Oh,
so yeah, I guess
he did
3 at first. Yeah.
Wow, that was a lot of sweeping he did. You were there for a long time.
Well, for the sleeping part.
Wow.
Yo.
Hey, I guess he did do a lot of sleeping. My memory is not, as Ralph would say, I'm so shot, but I'm not really. But my memory is.
Who was was that Chadwick in the top?
No, I don't think Chadwick was there. I think it was just Fat Tony. Is that? Who is that? Dude,
You're in Arizona, so I'm saying it's Chadwick.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. All right.
It looks like Chadwick. He's tall, reddish hair.
I know nothing.
It could be Chadwick.
Yes, he has the tattoos on one arm or something like that. But no big deal. I just thought it was funny, like cover photo.
Yeah, I don't know who
it's
that
okay.
is.
It doesn't matter.
Another one was Hodor's 360 in Seattle at the LeBan Gap.
Oh, you shot that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Hodor had a bad go on that one. Yeah.
I mean, he basically landed it and slid out.
Yeah.
Like, he was fucking robbed.
Damn near did it.
Yeah.
And I remember him like, he was going to do it without a shirt on.
Oof.
And I was like, dude, really? Like, you should probably put on a shirt. Like, he stole gloves before he went there.
That was what he credited as like the karma, right?
You're gonna take off your shirt but wear gloves. Like, I don't know. You should probably just wear a shirt.
You told him that?
I don't know if I said it like that, but I definitely told him he should wear a shirt. Like, I was like, I don't know, man. Come on. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Skin off his back.
Burn off your nipple or something, you know?
Dude.
But yeah, we went to some. I stayed in the car because I had all the camera stuff, so I didn't want to go in. But yeah, he walks out of this like some high end mountain bike shop in Seattle, and he's like, oh, these gloves are like the cheapest gloves are like $60. So he just stole. I was like, stole gloves. Go to this Gap. Like, what a day, you know?
Oh, we had them blocked? What the hell?
But yeah, that's
unblock. We had an account blocked. I wonder what they were doing. That's brand new.
That's one of them.
Probably an accident.
And also Sean Max.
Oh, it's because they do this stuff. And I know why. Because they were stealing all of our videos and then posting them with the captions. And then selling really bad t-shirts. Like, this is the Chris Gerber. Like, this is my caption for the Chris Gerber Stare Challenge. Like, so, but they had the clip of Hoder on here, and that's what I was looking for, but I didn't realize it was old. Yeah, they have like our podcast. So that's why I blocked them. So they couldn't steal our videos anymore. Okay, well, I've wasted too much time looking for this Hoder clip, and I am sorry, but everybody knows what it is.
Like, basically, Z's shot a bunch of scary stuff.
Yeah. Let's do, we're pretty deep. I feel like you're looking tired right now.
I'm always tired.
Yeah, but
at this time of night. But
so
pretty much we talked about everything we wanted to, except for we're still
we haven't even.
We got GT Vans, Silent. You know, like we should talk about that.
Well, I think ride is important. Like, ride being thick and then it going to shit.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about it going to shit.
Yeah.
We talked about how cool it was.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it going away.
Yeah.
What's your
Well, I feel like
it was really fun. We loved what we did. We only had to shoot a couple of photos a day. And then the internet came along and fucked it all up.
we were there for a long time. So it was definitely like a slow. I remember when, the internet was slowly becoming a thing, and a lot of brands were like, well, we're not really sure. Should we put our money towards online advertising or the magazine? You know, and they were like, there was like a couple of years where brands really weren't sure what to do, and then eventually everyone was kind of like, all right, we have to switch to digital advertising, and then, instead of the magazine started getting thinner, or started getting other like random ads that were just like not like non-endemic BMX brands, and it kind of sucked to see them in there, but they're paying the bills to keep the magazine alive, so we sucked it up.
We also kind of did some whack shit, which I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but like there was some cover phases that were pretty fucking miserable.
Oh, there was some really hard,
times. And that wasn't necessarily our fault. Like, he wasn't even the editor, the senior editor's fault at the time, but it was coming from above that we need to do all this shit.
The numbers and the call outs and there was some covers though. And if you look at a newsstand at the time though, not every magazine, but a lot of magazines, it was like the way to get you to pick it up off the shelf, like all these like catchphrases and call outs, and kind of like
this being
a viral title now would be for like a YouTube video.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were like, "Oh god, that Chester one."
This is, this is my photo, so I fucking hated it way worse. But I think this was peak fucking shittiness.
That looks crazy.
And I remember Eddie, and we did a buyer's guide. So I don't know if we were 9 or 12 at this point, a year. But Eddie Cleveland called me hammered and was like, "What the fuck is this?"
He's buying more because it was Chester and a homie, but still.
Rightfully so. And it was like he was basically like drunkenly voicing what I kind of felt at the time.
It wouldn't be too terrible.
Dude, it's a treasure chest. It's a treasure chest.
I had to shoot that. It was a treasure chest I found on the first date with my wife on the roadside, and we were doing the buyer's guide, so we filled it with product, and Yeah, because the whole issue was a buyer's guide.
Yeah, it was basically all product because at that point it was like something that advertisers wanted supposedly, and then
So 2007 was kind of the end. The ship was sinking.
It was, yeah. I mean, the treasure chest was going to the bottom. Yeah, and then so that was
the internet was becoming the main thing, and the magazine was.
But then we did the refresh after this, and we had a different size, format, and really good paper.
Oh yeah, you guys
the Tom
changed
White
it up.
cover and stuff, and that was good for
and
a little
Dwayne
bit,
was laying stuff out,
which was good.
Yeah,
and this art director was a little. I mean, he loved the splotches and shit like that, but this was not a good.
It was kind
so
of
you guys
tough.
changed like there was like a size change, and then it was like, oh yeah, it's good for a long time.
Size and paper change. So the feel when you touch the magazine, it got better, and we kind of like stopped. Like. I don't know. I'm not. This is when I'll just say this is when Mulligan was senior editor, and they were telling him to do shit. And when I was the Ride editor, and I'm not saying this is better in any sense because in the end this would bite me in the ass, but they would tell me to do stuff, and I would go, okay, I will do that, and then not do it. Like stuff that I disagreed with, and I would just be like. And then 6 months later, they would come back and be like, hey, you're not doing this. And I would be like, oh, my bad. I'll do it. And then not do it. So it was like there was, like it would be videos. It was like they wanted us to put our videos on their in-house player. And I was like, no, our videos need to be on YouTube. And they're like, yeah, you can put them on YouTube too. And I'm like, yeah, but it can't be on that for a week. And then be on this. Like it needs to be on it needs to be on YouTube so we can build that up because that is where our base cares about. Battled it, and I would just lie it straight to their face all the time, And so, but that was Mulligan giving in to what they asked, and I don't blame him for that because he didn't like it either. Yeah. But it was just stuff that looking back, it's like empirically, objectively, wrong fucking move. Did us no favors. So. It was hard at a point, to come up
a point where we were both just filming the whole time.
Yeah,
we basically became, there was no magazine anymore, and it was just like if we're shooting photos, it was just like a photo gallery.
What year did the magazine end?
Good question. We don't like to think about that.
2018. So maybe
no. Ride ended 2019. Okay. When did the magazine stop?
It wasn't that long before.
It wasn't that long before.
It was just tiny.
The holder cover was the last one, and it was super thin.
Yes, they were getting to where everyone knew it was ending.
Yeah.
The internet was a beast. The magazines were thin. And
issue 217, the holder cover was the last one. I forget what year it was.
The top one. It's not even fucking on here. Shit. Yeah, I don't know. 241, 2016. That has to be it.
I was close.
You were close. 2016, Ride the magazine ended.
From my shitty memory.
Oh, no, 17.
17?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so 17, and that was like, at that point, we were going to go, we had a whole plan, because that's when we did the Rat Boy thing, and we were going to do basically, like...
we were going to do what Dig was doing.
Essentially. Yeah.
One a year?
Yeah.
Was it one or two?
I think it was... I don't know if we decided that... was one or two, but
yeah, but the first one was going to be a mid-school issue. We had all this stuff. We shot a bunch of stuff, and like we shot like a Rat Boy thing that literally you posted the photos. The video drives me nuts. Like I've opened it like 5 times over the years, just like in search of Rat Boy, and it was just such like a shitty time when the magazine ended that I like can't open the video project. I like there's a couple of little quirks, audio quirks, and I'm just like I can't fucking do it. And I've opened it up like so many times over the years trying to edit it. But yeah, super shitty.
You guys crazy.
I mean, it's not I don't even know what year it was. I just kind of like put it in a corner and fucking close it, put some boxes over it and try. Just like that era, like I'm like, yeah, that sucks because like for me on a personal level, it felt like I failed. Like, oh, they gave Ryan the magazine and it died. Obviously we knew we were on a sinking ship no matter what, but like I couldn't fucking save it.
Yeah.
That's hard, but
I mean, maybe if you guessed them did everything they said, but they would have just been like a stinking pile of not what you want to do.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't even saved it anyways. I mean, like
the whole thing's done, right?
Yeah. So that was 2017. So we're online only. And like, it's like that works. And like Ryan wasn't even like doing that bad. There's a thing called like EBITDA, like earnings before income taxes, something. I haven't heard that term since 2019, so I kind of forgot it. But like on that scale, like we were doing good, and then 2019 happened. So I don't know your perspective of like getting shit canned.
Oh, we got let go.
Yeah.
We it was us in the motocross
Shit canned,
title.
let go.
We got pulled into an office, and I mean, I remember the motor title was always doing really well. So us and them being pulled into an office together, I mean, I was like, oh, well, we're whatever's happening out there, we're not part of that because we're here with the moto guys, and moto guys are always
basically
really well.
we got told that there was going to be like two separate things, like good news, bad news room.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
we were in the bad news room.
Oh.
yeah.
And while we were in the bad news room, behind us, they were changing all the passwords to all of our social media accounts.
Yeah.
So when we
Not the Twitter account or X account.
but
Still got it.
So a fair bit of what we had was like changed. So when we left the room, we couldn't like.
They were in the back. They were put you in a room and then went and changed passwords.
Well, we had like social media gurus who worked for the company, or one or two of them, right? And
Yeah. Because I was
best
literally
practices. And
I
stuff.
was literally when they shit canned us, I was under the fucking desk on my phone switching passwords. So they knew, like, because that's the way I am. I'm like, fuck y'all. I'm going to like at least make a post, you know, like I knew it was going to change
so
quick.
you got
so
it. You
I
did it for a second.
like, I mean, I think it was already switched. Like I like didn't have access anymore. Like it was, as soon as I like went under there because I was like, I'm going to fucking say something at least, you
It's
know,
like your guys' baby and Losi's baby and Keith, like these people who really made something so amazing. And then for this company that always had the overhead, you know, they owned it. They fucking took it from you. Didn't even.
yeah.
It's sad. That's what they did with, I mean, Losi made Nike, BMX, Facebook, all this huge shit with millions of whatever.
Yeah.
And then they took it from him too. He couldn't even use it for anything else. It's like, damn it. And they just destroyed it. Like they didn't even do anything with it.
Yeah, same here. They didn't, it's like
It's like, at least give it to you
outdoor
guys.
life or something.
Yeah, at
or I
least
don't know
give
what-
it to you
what is,
guys.
but it's
Yeah. I
like-
don't know.
At least give it to you guys and start something else that everyone would have been a part of, you know?
So,
And you guys did your own things, you know, separately, but
yeah. Well,
it's not like as easy as if you just give us this thing we already made.
yeah.
Annoying.
It's hard because like I want to interview you, but like I lived it.
No, it's
right,
cool.
Right
It's cool.
next
It's
to
turning
you,
into
you know,
something
like
that's like-
mutually. So, but like, what
I
was
probably
your?
sugarcoated it a little bit, but
I mean, like, how are you feeling? Like you get fucking told the job that you had for what 20 years, essentially.
yeah, I guess all
20
told,
years.
between staff and free.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a
19
long
19
run.
years.
Yeah, let's say 19 conversation's sake.
They, you know, they
I
say-
mean, to be honest though, like where we were at with it, like I wasn't really shooting photos anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, we became like filmers and glorified YouTube content producers, and it wasn't. I was accepting of it because I'm like, it's job security. It's like I understood that photos really weren't as important anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, if I want to shoot photos every day still, I probably have to go somewhere else outside of BMX. And I wasn't ready to do that. I'm still not, obviously. So I just, grin and bear it. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'm relieved that it happened, but I was like, well, whatever, I was going to be a wedding photographer and shoot BMX because I like it.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Which I was starting to do. I was like building a portfolio because I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Just nothing else. I don't do anything else. I have no other photographic passion outside of BMX.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like people are like, oh, if you shoot people one-time tricks, you could do anything else. I'm like, maybe, but it's like, I don't know anything about beauty photography or fashion. I'm not stoked on it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Even if it pays good, it's like, it's not, I've never had an assistant in my life. I don't even know what it's like to have somebody else help me do a photo.
Yeah.
It's like, even people are like, I already have both bags on. Hey, you want me to carry one? I'm like, no, I got it. Meanwhile, I'm like carrying all the shit myself. It's like, I think I like the grunt work.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something rewarding in that.
Yeah.
But so we're in that room together though, and like you have to call your wife.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And-
I definitely cried and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know how to handle the emotions,
Yeah.
but I'm not, necessarily, like I said, the direction I was going in, I was like, this isn't really what I want to be doing exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like our best skill sets were being like wasted, I mean, you're really great with video camera. So you've made the most of it. Like, I'm an amateur at best with a video camera. So it's like, I have to rely on my photo skills still.
Well, you were good with the video when you were doing
really
it at that time,
Yeah.
and then you took a fucking 16-year break, so you get a pretty good pass, but like, so
You're
the
a
one thing,
professional photographer though.
Yeah.
That's where you take pride in. That's what you
Totally.
like got the good feeling.
I mean, now
going
I'm
shooting.
more of a filmer for GT than photographer. Best just because, we need more video content photos.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's like a little bit of both now. But
have you ever thought about the idea, because like when we got let go in 2000, it was January 31st, 2019, because they cut us right before Feb 1. That when we got let go, we basically got a month of severance for every 2 years. So like I was there for 17, or I think they shorted me 1 year. So it was like 17 years or something. So I got 8.5 months of pay, like all my ride pay, 8.5 months. And then Jeff, essentially you probably got, 9.5 months or something like that. So it's not like we were like out on our ass.
That's awesome.
pretty, commendable.
Yeah,
like
totally.
100%. Like, so while we were still getting severance,
That
essentially,
feels like so long ago.
Yeah, it's crazy,
and
right?
really, when it's 2024.
Yeah, it's insane how because I measure things like pre-ride, post-ride.
Yes.
Pre my
Seems
child,
like-
pre
seems
my
like
child,
10 years.
post my child,
Same.
pre-death of ride, post-death of ride.
It seems like 10 years
Like-
ago that all happened to me.
Yeah.
Because COVID happened right after that.
Well, that's what I'm getting
So
at
it's
is like
interesting.
essentially while Jeff was still getting severance in a couple months, COVID hits, and they basically furlough like half of that building anyways, like work furlough, which basically means like, hey, we don't have work for you, but you're not fired. So just go home and don't get paid.
So severance doesn't go down with those
So,
people.
and they get fucked. And then so they basically furlough them until they either quit, and then eventually they come back and they cancel they cut them or do whatever. And so they actually all got fucked. Like the 50% of those people that like made it through that firing,
That's cool.
They
For you
also
guys.
they came out and they got fucked. Did you
Yeah.
Sucks for
were
those
you were
guys,
aware of
but-
that, right?
no, you've mentioned, I must have heard it from you, but
Yeah.
I wasn't
Jeff is also the guy
forefront
that
of my-
didn't know the
I didn't know
the
anybody
senior
there.
director, senior editor of the
see you just
motocross
kinda-
mag for 10 years. I was like, Jeff, we
I'm
have
so
worked
bad
for
with
this dude for
names.
10 years. You don't know his name?
I'm so. Oh, we worked
Doing
in the
his own
same,
thing.
We worked in the same.
building in
building.
Tustin
Yeah, but it's not like
for 10
we
years.
all went out and like had lunch together or like yeah.
How many people worked in that office, Jeff?
12 maybe.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Dude,
10 years, 12 people. He
I'm
doesn't know
so-
his name.
I'm so bad with names.
He's
I'm
like,
so-
Don.
He's doing
I'm
his
like, yeah,
thing.
Don, blah, blah, blah. He's like, who? I'm like, Don, motocross. He's like, which one's that? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
That's crazy.
I know Don Maeda, if that's what you're saying. He
Yeah,
was
but you
really-
didn't. That's who
at
you
that
didn't know.
time,
Yeah. Too funny. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was sobering in that sense to be like, wow, like that idea of like, wow, we got fucked, and then you see like, oh, if we would have made it till 2020,
No, it's actually not
We
that-
actually would have gotten fucked.
The timing of it is pretty
because
good.
because for us, it like, I mean, I'm assuming Jeff went through it in a certain way that like I felt like I went through the grieving process of like sad, relieved, angry, whatever that shit is, whatever that process is. Like I felt like I like mourned it, and then I was like struggling to be like, all right, now what do I do?
I don't know if I was mourning it. I think I might have just been like trying to hit the ground running. Like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's
I was
that.
like-
Yeah, there was that phase too.
I'm sure,
yeah.
I'm sure. But yeah, I was definitely just like hustling, just like doing wedding stuff and working for I was working for Animal. I was
Yeah.
a team manager for Animal for a little bit.
Afterwards.
Yeah, like a very short stint.
Okay.
And obviously, and then I was working more for GT. I was working at the building with Fitness and M a lot. I was all over the place.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely basically I have a foot in a lot of doors, and I was just GT was the thing that was like, I was speaking with Ben. It was like, that was most likely going to be the thing. But, being like a bigger company, they had to basically like structure and form a job for me to fit into.
Yeah.
So it took a while.
Yeah. So you were doing a lot of, because you were working for ourbmx for a while.
Yep.
And you were never, it sucks because like I've debated if I should talk about this now, but then now the Dales have hit. But before the podcast, I was like, should I talk about this? But Jeff was never an owner of ourbmx. And that was the other ex-owners convinced me to not do that, and I still regret it to this day, to be honest, because it made life a lot more difficult when we split up and things like that, because we were a 50-50 partnership, and I was like, Jeff should own part of this, and it was like we can't sustain 3 people, and I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, but like you still like have a piece of it, and I like that is like a whole. So you never owned part of ourbmx, but obviously we supported you as much as we could.
Yeah, totally.
And then when GT started to take over stuff, they started battling. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like working for both, and I always had this like inner demon. Like I felt like I wasn't doing enough for either one. I was like, because my GT work was cutting into my time for hour and vice versa. But then I was doing stuff for hour for other brands, because we had to do a bunch of, helping like do like a project for We the People. But I'm like, but I work for GT, so this is a conflict of interest. And then I just had all these like voices going on in my head. I'm like, all right, I need to, and eventually.
It was always a clear decision to choose GT.
Yeah.
Because GT offers healthcare for his entire family and retirement and things that you're never going to get, that I don't get from ourbmx. Like I don't get healthcare from this. Like I get it from my wife. Like, so it's that it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, totally. And obviously like, you and Ben are like 2 of my closest friends, you know, and obviously I was like, I definitely was like, didn't want to let Ben down. I didn't want to let you down. I was like, what do I do?
I was always very clear cut.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've told this to multiple people. I was like, don't ever feel bad for making a decision at the benefit of yourself.
Yeah.
And when it comes to business, like we will always be friends. Business is business. You make that decision for yourself, and I will respect it. Like I would never fault you for anything. Like I never even thought you weren't doing enough. Never. Like
you mentioned that too.
Yeah. I tried to pay you more. When GT tried to steal you, I was like, just do the same amount. I'll pay you the same money. Like just literally just because I was like, I like you. I don't want you to leave. Like because they're like, how much does ourbmx pay you? I was like, all right, we'll pay you this, but then you have to do more. And I was like, well, I'll pay you more. You don't have to do anything more.
Why didn't you stay?
Well, it wasn't as much as what he was making for GT, but like I matched their raise. I basically doubled his pay and said, you don't have to do anything else, because I matched what they were trying to whatever ourbmx paid him. I can't remember what it was at this point, but like I was like, no, I'll just pay you more. You do nothing more. Like, so
he went.
But I wouldn't. Yeah. Obviously, I was going to do more, because there's no way I would. Been paid more, feel guilty. Like I have to do more.
You already were feeling guilty.
Yeah, exactly. I always feel guilty about something.
That's a Jeff trait. He is insanely meticulous, slightly neurotic about a few things.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But he also gets really worried that he's not doing a good enough job, which also is like a trait that makes you really good at your job.
I feel that way all the time at GT now. All the time.
But it's also something that for his own sanity, I'm like, dude, you're good. Like, don't worry about stuff that you don't need to worry about. Like, you can turn that element of it off. But it is a credit to why he's looking at a magazine at 16 years old, or the skate video. The skate video that you originally talked about, and being like, okay, the rider goes from the diagonal to diagonal and diagonal, and dissecting it, and being like, and then being self-critical. And that's the trait that makes you a good photographer. And being critical and never being good enough, and then looking, and that was always your advice for any photographer, and being like confused at points.
Yeah.
You're like, why do they think their photo is good?
Oh yeah, I definitely
he's like, they just look at what's in the magazine.
Yeah. Did these slides look like?
Because people would get angry.
Yeah,
people would get angry back in the day that their photo wasn't in there. And you're like, for Jeff, it was so plain And you'd be like, you just look at the magazine, your photo sucks in comparison,
it's like,
nicer words.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, it's pretty obvious. Like, I don't know what filter they had on. They were like, this and this,
It's different.
Yeah. I tried to put myself in their shoes and thinking, like, when I first started setting, I didn't necessarily think my photos were as good as what was in the magazine, but I thought maybe they were good enough to just be the shittier ones in the magazine,
Yeah.
I guess that's what I thought. I don't know.
But when they weren't, you didn't get mad.
No.
You
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
You bounced it around and
like,
looked at stuff.
He's right.
Yeah.
I see it now,
So basically, I remember that being when Ride went away, there was like the campaign. I remember Kareem being like, "Save this man! Save Jeff Z!" like, and in the sense because you are like such a treasure to the community, you've produced so much for literally decades at this point. Like, it was cool to see that. I kind of forgot about Animal. That it's like Animal. You did stuff for Vans. You did stuff for obviously GT. You did stuff for us. And then obviously you had the Severance, so that like floated you for a pretty good amount of time.
Yeah, totally.
For like more than a year or what until you worked full time for GT?
I can't remember, to be honest. But they weren't all at the same time. Like,
well, they all come in and out. Yeah, but
I might have even been doing Animal stuff while I still worked at Ride, like as a TM. I can't remember exactly. It was a part-time thing. It was really more so just to help Ralph. But I remember the problem being we would discuss all these ideas and have all these game plans, things to do, but I couldn't enact them because I didn't have the time because I was doing other jobs, other obligations, and I was in California.
Yeah.
So it was like, I got to the point where I had to tell Ralph, I was like, I can't let you keep paying me because I'm not doing enough.
I do remember this.
I
do remember this.
Like,
same exact trait. Yeah.
I just felt, we're actually one of my best friends of all time, and
it's cool to be real with people though, and not bullshit them, especially when they're your friends, and be like, so
look,
I'm not doing what you're paying me.
It's
for.
a good. It is a good personality trait. Yeah, until it becomes like a fault. Like
doesn't seem like a fault though because he just landed in the position that he, the right position for him, which 100%. Is GT now instead of half-assing. Not for him, he was half-assing things. Like for you or for Ralph, they're like, "We love you, stay with us." It's like, I want you put 100% energy. That's what you did with Ride. That's what you did to get yourself to Ride. It's what you did to get yourself to GT.
Because every day was shooting photos. Really,
it was. Now, it's funny because the team manager thing. It's like you think about when you go on a BMX trip, like for Ride, it's like a lot of times we would arrange the trip and organize a lot of stuff, and the filmer or photographer a lot of times kind of is the pseudo TM of the trip, unless the team has an actual TM. But like a lot of times the filmer just has the reins because we're going to go to this spot and this spot and this spot. So it's like I felt like it made sense. Like I could wear those shoes, And then it's like, but granted, not most TMs don't. Well, now it's changing. Like Walter, when he was a TM for at Full Factory, he was a filmer and a photographer. Now Zach Ramus is the TM and the filmer. I'm just doing all three.
Yeah.
And a bit of marketing and social media and stuff too. And
too many hats.
It's quite a few. Yeah.
I need to take a quick break. We are back. GT. So that kicks off, I think, it had to be like more than a year before you were like hired on full time at GT. I think the role got more and more serious, and you're kind of like, from my perspective, it was like a promise and you're sticking in. And I feel like you almost even had like other opportunities kind of come up.
It was a promise that was definitely, I knew that like Ben Ward and at the time, like the marketing manager, Mike Morrow, like I knew they were, obviously true they were, but it was just bigger picture, like corporate structure things that they just couldn't, it was just taking a while. So I understood that, but it was getting to a point where I was like, I did have other opportunities, and I was like, at some point something needs to happen because I don't want to make these opportunities wait too long. And if the GT thing didn't work out and then I'm out of all my opportunities, and I'm just like,
well, I remember cautioning you because I was like they can, and shout out to Ben and Mike. I absolutely love Ben. Mike is an amazing dude as well. But like I told you the story about Benthian. I was like, I promised Benthian a full-time job for fucking 8 months at Ride, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, you can have all the best intentions, but sometimes that shit falls apart.
Yeah.
And so it's like, don't rely on it, like all the eggs in one basket.
Well, we ended up setting a date.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, you know, whatever it was, like, and my other backup situation was like, well, this date is set. If this doesn't work out, and I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
You know, so it worked
Fortunately,
out.
it worked out.
Yeah.
And that was in 2020. You were officially the TM of GT, which is funny coming from, you know, Animal and Sombra.
Oh yeah. I've been on all sides of the spectrum for sure.
Yeah.
Like nitty gritty, hardcore but honestly, like when you think about the team riders we have, you know, they're just like flesh and blood BMX riders to the core, just like anyone on Animal or on Sombra. So, you know, and even like the immediate people I work with, they're all like lifers. You know, they're not all BMXers, but a couple of people I work with are, you know, they have BMX roots. Like both of them have owned bike shops, you know, like Clive Gosling, my like upper management, like my main boss, like his parents ran a bike shop. He used to ride for GT. He used to race. He's good friends with Will Smith. Like he came to California and like just like, you know, did like a dirt bag tour with S&M riders in the 90s. So he definitely has a BMX roots. He still follows it. And then Steve Spencer, he's another guy on the mountain bike side, but he used to have BMX team, BMX shop. He knows, he's from Utah. He's known Aiken since he was like a little kid.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So they're both like, although they don't actively do it now, they still follow it. And like, they have like their history is from it, you know? So it's not like I'm just there with like a bunch of people who have no idea what's going on.
That's cool. And
But
then,
I
the
am
team
like,
is so core too.
yeah. And the team is great. Like I'm so stoked on the team. My only complaint is that I can't do stuff with them often enough. And they're spread across the country or, you know, in some cases like internationally, you know, so that's the one complaint really. It's like, I wish we could do more stuff together.
The GT team, I always think, you know, coming from the Volker phase, you know, it was like the Volker and it was always the superstars and like the super pros, I guess is a proper word. And then I feel like Ben Ward was the one that was kind of like everybody expects us to do this. It's like, we're going to get this dude, this crew of like, you know, like Jeff with glasses and Dan Conway and like, you know, Bethany and just, you know, really support girl riders and all types of riders, Ratty Matty and Parker for a period of time. And so what was the kind of the goal that he was?
Well, you know, so obviously when I came into GT, like Ben breathed a new life into the program, the team and the products and the look and everything. Like
Albert, geez, my bad.
Ben's instrumental in everything where GT is right now.
Yeah.
You know, before he came in, I remember like when he got the opportunity to get the job, he was like, I don't know, like, you know, I'm like, dude, this is your shot. Like, you're so talented and smart with, you know, product design. He's such an idea man. I've always kind of been everywhere I've worked. Like, I'm like, I feel like I've almost been like looked better than I am because I worked with somebody else who was really smart and had really good ideas. Like Ben, like you, like Ralph, like I'm kind of like the guy who helped initiate the things where the ideas were, but it wasn't necessarily my ideas, you know? So now I'm here like holding up the foundation of what Ben created, you know? So it's like, sometimes I'm like, I don't have the ideas that Ben has, you know?
Yeah.
But,
yeah. And he is an idea guy and he's incredibly talented.
Smart. Yeah.
Let's see, where is this? I want to show Ben on a bike while we're talking about Ben working industry. So, obviously another lifer, parted ways with GT. I think it wasn't his choice, but that's not our story to tell in that sense. But, what, you know, like the bikes are designed years ahead of time, essentially 2 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
So the bikes that are out now are literally the bikes that he designed and he chose a team. So that's what Jeff is referring to. But yeah, I mean, I think you got to give yourself a little bit of credit, but I understand where you're coming from.
But yeah, so Ben,
that was sick.
He wanted to get riders. He because this is obviously the kind of riding he likes is like gritty, raw, street. You know, he loves stuff like 90 East, you know, stuff like that. Like, so he wanted riders who ride that way, you know, even if they're not like the current favorite or the person who's going to like garner like the best sales performance. He was legitimately wanted dudes, guys and girls that he'd be stoked to have in the van together, you know. And I definitely think he's achieved that. So
shout out to Ben.
Yeah. Where's he from?
he's from
Portland.
He was born in Texas, grew up mostly in Portland.
Yeah.
So where'd he go from GT?
He's still currently
It's semi-recent. Yeah, I think he's been doing some
Hasn't been too long.
freelance stuff and all that. But yeah, I don't.
he hasn't landed where he needs to be yet.
Yeah, it'll probably be outside of BMX, I would assume. So,
Dude, he's so smart. He could work in NASA or something. Like,
Really?
yeah, whenever it's crazy because like anything
he's got
anything,
mean one-footed X-ups.
Yeah, anything to do with bikes, any mechanical thing, he can tell you exactly like why it performs that way, what it's made out of, why. Like it's insane. He's so smart.
How did he land in GT?
Well, he worked at Fit for a couple of years.
Okay.
He worked in BMX, like he worked at Odyssey, and then he worked at Fit, and then
I think Fit then Odyssey, but
no, it was Odyssey.
Okay.
When I first met him, he moved to California, worked at Fit worked at Odyssey for a couple of years, and then they parted ways. And then I forget how long in the interim, but then he worked at Fit for a couple of years. Was definitely integral in a lot of like the more current stuff they had, team wise, bike part wise. And then they had to downsize, so they let him go. And then GT was looking. So
okay.
Yeah. We were finishing Doorstep.
Okay. Yeah.
And basically, because like I look at things like, you know, like you were saying earlier, I'm like pre-Tamara, post-Zola. He basically moved to Connecticut for GT like right after Zola was born.
Okay.
I have a couple photos of him like holding Zola when she was so young. She's still like pink in the face young, you know? But yeah, so I think he worked there for like, I don't know, let's just say like 9 years.
Long time, yeah. What are your roles these days? And like, obviously you've been there for a couple of years now. It evolves, and what do you guys have going on in general? And then,
so I'm basically the team manager and content creator. So
Okay.
anything team related, photo, video, all the social media stuff. And then I'm just engaged in the marketing side of things too. And I try to throw my hat in the ring anytime photos are needed for a mountainside or anything really. I'm like, hey, I'll shoot any photos. Like, I'm down. Like I'm always like, make me shoot more photos for the brand.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff in the mountainside, obviously I don't ride mountain bikes. Like I don't know much about mountain biking at all. I don't really follow it, but I get it. I understand bikes, You
want to shoot pictures of bikes.
Yeah. I'm like, I can do it. Like no problem. But a lot of the mountain bike team they're international, and it's like a lot of them already have their own like entire like media crews they work with, and so it's like, well, maybe you can go to this event, but it just hasn't really worked out.
Event stuff, and
it's different.
It's not really the same thing.
I mean, I would do it, but more like the free ride style. I feel like that's almost just feels like shooting like street riding. It's just like you're out there interpreting these boulders or obstacles, but it's like free ride, freestyle, like. Dude, I get it. It's like
creating something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess in this day and age, like you guys you have Albert, Conway, who else is
huge
on? Yeah, Maddie.
Yeah, we have 8 pros and like
Badaloka.
a little over 20 team riders in total.
Big.
That's crazy.
It's one of the bigger BMX teams probably, like with paid pros and big real flow guys.
Yeah.
Or like AM guys, whatever you want to call them.
It's definitely pretty big for sure. Yeah, eight like paid riders, and then over 20. Like I think it's like 23 or 24 total.
And then obviously you have the photo bug is covered a little bit by Silent and Vans.
Yeah. Silence and fun. Obviously it's a lot. We had it back to the photo bug. Yeah, the Vans thing is great because I literally just shoot photos.
So yeah, you're on a retainer, and you've been on that retainer for a couple years.
Yeah.
How many? 3 years? 4 years?
Let's say 4, maybe. But yeah, it's been a bit. It's awesome. Yeah. Cause I literally only have to shoot photos. That's where the responsibility ends, you know? And it's another one too, where a lot of times I feel like I'm not doing enough,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like,
some months you do too much.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
That's the same thing that Colin and Mapstone say. Like, well, you know, some months are busier than others, you know, sometimes surprise them and, you know, go to some events and they weren't expecting photos or necessarily needed them from something, but they get them and they end up using them, you know, so.
Is there something like, I feel like I want to ask something like existential, like what is photography of BMX mean to you? You know, like in a sense, like but dude, you love this shit so much. Like, what is it about the idea of like getting a phone call and being like, hey Jeff, I want to shoot this photo that is like means like, hey wife and child, I have to cancel plans on Sunday because I got to go shoot photos. But it's hard, but it's worth it to you to say it because you love it so much.
Well, I one way I could maybe explain it, like when I was shooting weddings for a bit there, it's like after a wedding, I'm driving home and I'm not like stoked or looking forward to looking at the photos. So I don't have that like, man, that was like awesome wedding. They look so great, you know. But like, you shoot a photo of a trick, and you're just like, first of all, you're stoked that you got it, because you know obviously there is a timing issue. A lot now. I'll tell you, nowadays I feel like it's almost always like one try.
Yeah,
you know, and you nailed it, and so that feels great that you didn't fuck up, you know, and you have that moment in history, and it's a cool spot. I just feel like there's so much more. Like just attachment directly to it. It's like the next best thing, being the person doing the trick, is to be the person to document it, because you're
it's a relationship.
You're helping that person who did it share it with the world.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like if you weren't there, if it wasn't documented, they still did it, but it's like then that person can't like have the glory the same way because they can't share it. You know, so it's like. Obviously, getting a clip is the most important thing nowadays, but having a really good photo, there's still like
a good photo, like literally, like transcends time. You know,
totally.
Think about the that's like the photo that like resonated for me most recently because
I
like,
think that's a reason where photos are getting
freaked out. You know, like
it's going to start flipping because the print stuff is getting so easy to print and really cheap. You know, like there's like free print sites where you can get like 30 free prints a month, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Free.
Yeah.
You just have to subscribe to whatever. But
I think, you know, I always think it's like some sort of bonding experience. You know, like you guys go through something, you fucking fought security, you found the spot, and you guys you're all quiet, like shut the fuck up until we, you know, like, and then he does it and you fucking killed it. Like it is such like a cool bonding experience where it's like, remember that time that we did that shit, you know, like it is such like a, what's the fucking thing is such a corny analogy, but like the thing from Speed or something where it's like relationships born in extreme situations don't last or something, you know, like it is like a weird like bonding experience in an odd way.
Guerrilla tactics photography.
Yeah, it is because you're like attacking something for a little bit and then getting away and escaping.
The wedding thing is just too easy.
Yeah,
you know, like that kind of money or that kind of photo gig, you're just like, that was fun. It's pretty. It was
you
easy.
don't feel really
we weren't getting kicked out the whole time. We're supposed to be there.
There's a monetary reward.
Yeah,
they paid for us to have all this beautiful stuff.
It's a job.
It's boring. You know, I mean, when I was doing it for a bit there, I was like, I'm shooting photos and I'm documenting something, so I enjoy that part of it. But that was it.
Yeah,
you know, like that was where it ended. Like I would still probably
that probably still felt good though.
I do enjoy documenting things, like, you know. So
you're documenting like this amazing day in their life. So you still have to hand them in something like special.
And you can still, you know,
it's like the biggest day of people's lives where like that trick was so much sicker.
It's like
on the 12 rail.
You can find ways to make it gratifying to yourself still. Like you can still employ like, because for me, like composition is like usually like the most important thing for a good photo. It can be ambient light, doesn't have to have a lot of flashes or anything, but you know, some like, remember like Red Bull Illume in the early years, like the sickest photos, a lot of times it was just a composition before they got really wacky with like just throwing gels and powder and weird shit all over the place. And it's like
contrived,
some guy just doing
fabricated
endo
fucking
in a
bullshit.
cereal bowl with like Fruit Loops all over the place. Like just it got so dumb, you know. It's like
It's bad.
It's like
from a photographer standpoint, that's really shit the bed.
Yeah.
I think it was the first time. For us, 10 years ago, it was like the pinnacle.
It was
like,
super cool. It was
I
awesome.
was like a semi-finalist, and it
Yeah,
was
you were in
like
top
it
50.
like catapulted me within the Red Bull like background, where I was shooting photos for them like on a pretty regular basis, and then it just fucking became like baby turtles skateboarding and shit was shot with a macro lens, and it was like, what the fuck are you doing?
So
like,
corny.
so it's so bad. Like,
I've still contributed something every year to the contest, but each year it's become like I had less photos I felt were worthwhile to share.
Yeah. We were shooting less. The contest changed a bit. I think it's both of our faults. But before we jump into the guest questions, the Instagram, and then we have a couple of voicemails too. I saw. Favorite photo all time. What was the last one? Hold on, I gotta think of the wording. Your best photo.
Yeah,
and your personal favorite photo. You didn't come up with one?
Best photo. How do I?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The one that is like the technical, like, the Red Bull Illume, like accolade, like something where you're like, that is something that my
I did have a couple years, couple photos in the Red Bull judges books over the years, but I guess at those years, obviously, those are some. But even then, they had the categories, the themes.
Just name a photo, Jeff.
I don't have a best photo. I have some favorites.
Favorite photo then.
One of them was the one of Josh Hino feebling the rail over the water at the Belmont.
With the bird.
Yeah, with the bird, and I shot the X-Pan.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely
beautiful
stoked
photo.
because of the opportunity to use the X-Pan. It was definitely a super gnarly trick, and the bird, the whole thing just ticked all the boxes.
Yeah. Okay, keep going. You got another one?
There was the Edwin rail manual.
Passaic.
Yeah, the one I always liked.
It's so funny how I just know all these. I'm like the Passaic one, the Red Bull Mean Streets.
Yeah, getting a chance to shoot a photo. Like sometimes it's cool to shoot super tight, like super tight, where you're almost like you're just isolating everything else and you're just showing. I remember like in the late '90s, a lot of skate photographers, a lot of skaters were skating like picnic tables, and a lot of times photographers to shoot long lens, super tight, just a skater and a table, and that was it in the schoolyard. But the photos looked cool, really shallow depth of field. Now when you couldn't get the depth of field too shallow because the wall was behind them, but yeah,
But I remember that being a very simple photo. Is it a film photo? Or?
Yeah,
film photo, 70 to 200 lens probably, and then just pretty sharp. 2.8, 3
vertical, like and it's really really simple. But
was Delecki shooting at the same time? Because I remember there was that overlap. That was the one where I got kicked off of Red Bull. That was the early Red Bull days.
I don't remember if he was there, if he shot that one or not. But that was like, it was like the different teams.
Yeah.
See, I'm not sure.
That was the one. That was the one where I was shooting for Red Bull, and there was 3 photographers: me, Delecki, and Z. And it was
Meet the Streets.
Mean Streets.
Mean Streets.
And it was like
they did like 2,000,
2007, 2008, or something. And I'm like, I suck at shooting photos
with these guys
compared to Z and Delecki.
Yeah.
And so I just took a step back. And then Red Bull, the dude from Red Bull was like, oh, you didn't shoot many photos. Why not? And he was kind of drinking. And I told him the reason why. I was like, yeah, because like I was, like I shot photos when it made sense, but you have the 2 best photographers here. And then he kept drinking, kept trying to give me fucking shit. And we almost fought.
Was it Jeff Regis?
Yeah. And I never got his nickname apparently was Outrageous.
Yeah.
And it took me 6 years before I got a Red Bull gig again. And I'm like, yeah, because he went higher and higher up in Red Bull. So it was like, he was like early Red Bull days, and I fucked it. In the grand scheme of things, I probably lost a lot of money, not
6 years.
Not being a stubborn asshole,
It's not really like one photo, but I've only been to Barcelona once.
Wow.
I went with the Sunday team, and I was doing like two articles at once. I shot like a Sunday overall experience in Barcelona, and then an Ian Schwartz interview. The Ian one was all black and white. So I had two backs to the Hasselblad. So if it was Ian photo, I put on the black and white back, and then if it was Sunday, it was color. But I just remember like everything was film, obviously back then, but like nothing. I didn't mess up anything on that trip. Like between both, like
could do no wrong.
Shot 2 articles. Had a cover, shot everything. Ian's whole interview was shot in Barcelona, and both everything looked distinctly different. So I definitely. Those two, that general experience was definitely, that was the point in time where like anytime go on a trip, I'm like, all right, Hasselblad's main camera, but I always want to bring a different extra camera to shoot like the non-essentials, like the B-roll, like the lifestyle stuff. So like where it was like a Holga or like the half frame camera. That was like, I feel like the best era in my photography because I was like, I understood
That's what I was going to ask.
all the different cameras and like I had like, 12 different film cameras, and I was like using them all for different reasons. Like, and I felt like I understood the best time to use each one. Like I would see the situation. I'm like, this is X-Pan. When you want to crop it later, you have to make that decision on the spot with the camera. Like, which is the best camera and the best film for the situation? It's like,
did photography ever get like, sorry, Dennis, did photography ever get redundant? Because I felt like at points I'd be like, all right, well, I've shot this photo fucking 400 times before. You put the flash fucking 14 feet over here. You put the other one 14 feet over here, 30-degree angle. You put it up high, point this one down, rim, like.
I mean, it's nice. Like, it never feels redundant. I mean, sometimes it definitely.
Like I felt like I was super excited the first 5 times I shot a similar, and then towards the end I was like, man, fuck, I've been here before, like it's not really that exciting anymore. The trick would sometimes
is that what wouldn't you want to like kind of change it up then? Maybe like
you would want to, but you'd also
but
also the trick is important because the trick is the paramount thing, not your photo.
If you try to change it up for sake of changing it up, you might
shoot some artsy lame ass photo.
It'll harm the quality of the trick. Like you'll like do injustice to the rider.
I've always said that my favorite thing is to be the B photographer on the trip because the A photographer, you agree kind of.
Yeah, I've had a situation with Nuno before.
Yeah. Because you can sit there in a fucking bush and shoot a reflection off a building or something like that, and it doesn't crazy with it, and it doesn't matter if you got a really cool photo of the trick. Like
the A guy is there; they have to do the trick the most justice and do the best angle to show the rider the trick the best way possible. There have just been times over the years, back in the day, I remember when shooting, he would shoot stuff like he'd come hang out,
super cool,
get cool photos for Def Grip, and I'm like. Man, like, but sometimes like, and also a lot of times you don't have the luxury to like get to the spot and walk back 20 feet, 30 feet, look around, like, and find like a really cool, unique, because they want to do it. They're like ready to go. And plus you might get kicked out. So you don't have the luxury to like really evaluate where is the best photo. You have to kind of just go with like, all right, I know this schematic and this angle will do really good for this trick, but there might be something better.
Yeah,
I definitely have been places where I'm like, there's a better photo here, but we don't have time.
Oh, it's the most insane thing.
You can't risk it.
Yeah.
What about the filmer photographer beef? When did that ever change? Where someone has priority, or has it always kind of just been like, oh, let's try and work together?
My theory is, it's not always. I don't want to quarrel and have the rider lose focus or get bummed out.
Yeah.
So
that's a good thought point.
Like I definitely usually try to figure it out, but I never get to the point where it's like an obvious problem. Now, especially with digital, like, just towards the latter years, like I would just say, hey, after, they shoot the photo and I try not to move. And I'm like, hey, after they pull, like, can you just jump out real quick? Mm-hmm. So you can take an empty photo and mask them over.
So that started changing things.
Yeah.
Do that.
But earlier in the days with like, especially with during film stuff, I didn't have that idea. So I didn't do that.
But it kind of looks cool back in that era when the photographer was just up in there. Like, you know what I mean? It was like an era.
To my knowledge, a lot of filmers I've spoken to, don't mind as much if the photographer's in there because there's like a panning shot and like the part with the photographer, it kind of goes by. But when the photo is like a frozen moment, you're just looking at one moment, and if the filmer's right up in there, you just can't not see them.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like right there, the same size as the rider, and it's like, who's the subject in this photo? You know, so I feel like it's more irksome for the photographer to see the filmer. But I mean, from my discussion, a lot of filmers, they're like, yeah, I don't really mind you in there, like, because it goes by quick. And once in a while, if there's a flash in a certain spot, like, well, the flash kind of right when the rider comes into frame is your flash. And I'm like, I get that. So,
yeah,
you know, because like I said, like I understand that the clip, a lot of times it takes priority, you know. Sometimes if it was like...
Sometimes a photo could look cool, though, with the filmer all in there with the fisheye. You know, it's like a moment in time of them filming for the video.
Yeah,
you know?
if you're trying to document the project and stuff, I can see why.
Yeah, when you're looking for your piece of art with just the trick, you're probably like, get out of there.
It depends on the quality of the photo, too. Like, if it's like some beautiful photo and you got some fucking guy, like, you know, like holding the fisheye, like, it's like, yeah, it could kind of crush a photo. But sometimes if it's just another photo or if it's not, or if it's for a video project and it's like, that's the point, it kind of adds some context. And I think there was also like a bad time period where it was harder to remove filmers, and then also like photographers were so prevalent that it was like more beef, where now I feel like I've heard Tony Ennis say like, no, fucking run the shutter the whole time. You know, like I love the sound of the shutter.
Yeah,
you know, like it makes it sound cool, or it makes it sound like
a bigger production.
Yeah, and so like I've heard people say that, and so it kind of just like the same thing, kind of swings one way, swings back the other way. Like I know Christian and I had beef on that bar over the double rail or something back in the day. I remember we like went back and forth or something.
I feel I've definitely been trying a trick where it's like
Christian was just a hard ass.
Yeah,
you know, like
Christian
he just didn't want to move.
Man,
yeah.
they're both hard ass. They both want the same angle.
Yeah,
like, you guys, like fucking someone get a different angle. Let's get this done.
Yeah, them two together seems like I feel like
I guess I lived with
say,
two of the most like funny people that are, you know, they butt heads on that sense.
Yeah. Where I would just probably, like, if it was Christian, I remember having a battle with him and I was kind of bummed, but I was like, all right, fuck it, you know, like just gave up. But because I mean, it's not, you know, like
it's a good question.
As a rider, I see you guys bickering sometimes. And I'm like, I'm not trying to think about it too much. But I'm like, that's got to be weird.
If it's the photo, I will fight for it. But if it's a photo, it's okay.
Yeah, maybe you have to choose your battles. If
you know, like,
where it's,
like I think there's a difference. So
I've definitely found,
because then I could be like, remember that photo the other day that I fucking gave to you? Like, I let you have it. Today's not the day. You know, like that, you got that day. You got fucking last weekend. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
like
filmers and photographers have a interesting.
But sometimes I'll put the camera on a tripod just so I don't have to stress as much about the move out thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I can't do that.
It sucks. It's another step.
But sometimes you have to probably.
And I can't time a photo as well. Not looking at the viewfinder. I'm so accustomed to looking through it. I just watching the trick happen, impressing. It's like I've done it plenty of times, but it's not how it just doesn't work the same. My brain is just a little off watching the trick happen, like, you know, like this instead of like this. Like even using my newer camera I'm so used to using an optical viewfinder.
Oh, maybe we should talk about that. Should we talk about your shit getting stolen at X Games?
I feel like I aired it out quite a bit, but I mean we could, but now looking through the live view, even though you film all the time that way, but timing a trick with the live, I'm not as good with it. Like I'm still struggling with it a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. My brain's just not processing what it's.
I've never even shot a flash photo with it, so yeah, it's crazy.
There's been a couple of times with like with Peraza, he's just doing like some really basic stuff, and I was like, I didn't get it. I didn't get it again. I didn't get it again. And I was like, dude, Kevin. And I told him, like, I just got this camera and it's just different.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's only obviously with like lighting and like stills, you know.
Yeah.
And thankfully it was just conscious stuff you can do a couple times. So I was like, don't lose faith in me when it counts. You know, it's like.
All right, let's run through the
There was a lot of good questions. I was really flattered when people asked questions.
Oh, I haven't even looked at the Instagram one. These are the voicemails. So my suggestion is don't look at the TV because it does a word thing. So you can just listen to it.
Yo, I got a question for the Jeff Z-Man.
Oh, it's Mike.
Wait, is it Zielinski? Discard this message. No, I'm just joking. Jeff Z, yo, how much does all your photo equipment weigh? I'm putting together a workout regimen. I'm trying to do the Jeff Z, workout regimen, dude, because you're jacked and buff AF. Also, come ride dirt jump with me sometime. You won't.
Mike, actually, that's Mike Nutty.
Oh, nice.
Mike's the best.
He actually filmed it again, but that one was very entertaining. So you get to keep that one.
He's
Sorry.
so awesome.
Yeah. Or recorded that one again.
I wish we lived close to each other.
Yeah, he has a jam. I mean, it's actually going to be after, but shout out to Mike. He does jams all the time out in the Palm Springs area. Answer the question.
How much does it weigh? Actually,
At peak.
67 pounds. It was like the main bag with like auto light stands and everything.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's 67.
Yeah.
Oof, it's so heavy.
And then nowadays I usually go out with the video bag too. So it's like front back. Because the GT stuff, I'm doing it all. So
Wait, your bag these days still weighs 67 pounds?
yeah, I think so. Might be more. Back one,
I thought it peaked during
I think grabbing
the
Z's,
Luminine days.
when you're the
or
middleman
something.
on the fence and Z's bags come.
I just climb over with the bag on. I just take off the tripods, but I just clinch it really tight around my waist and I just climb the fence with it on.
You're a beast. I've grabbed your bag before though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
at
maybe
some
you have,
point.
yeah.
Like, fuck. It's
But
a
that's
heavier-
why
I
it's
think the
heavier
max
than
of mine
anyone.
was like 50 pounds. I think, and that was
67.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was a
your
point where
bag.
I grabbed my camera bag up and I grabbed it from my thumb and it dislocated, and I was like, okay, that's never going to happen again.
We were on a GT trip a couple years ago in New York, and I remember somebody had like the scale for like their bike bags.
Yeah,
And someone made a joke. It might have been like Mark Noble or somebody. He's like, how much does your bag weigh? And I was like, we weighed it. And it was like 67. I was like, and there was also something.
You ride around cities with that all day.
you bump up your tires, right?
Yeah, I run. Well, that's partially why I used to run skinny tires too.
Yeah.
So like less rolling resistance. So each time I pedal, I would go further. But yeah, I mean, I don't run like hard tires, but I don't run like Albert tires.
Yeah,
I'm probably like 60 PSI. But yeah, my tires are squishy.
so somewhere between 6 and 6
Yeah.
psi. And
My tires aren't squishy. But yeah, I definitely do feel like, well, not to get too far and down the road of like working out, but when I turned 40, I broke my foot. And I've done this other times too. You get hurt, you're like, I'm not gonna be able to ride for, a month or 2 months, whatever it is. I'm like, I need to do something physical still, you know? So when I broke my foot, I was just doing like push-ups and planks with only on one foot, and then as I got better, I kind of got into it. It gets addicting. Like you see the changes in your body and you feel better. And after you turn 40, you lose muscle a lot faster and it's harder to gain it and to keep it. So I was like, well, just thinking about like wanting to stay physical and doing things and carrying camera bags and climbing fences, pushing 50, I was like, makes sense. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah. And eventually you do, I mean, not everybody, but I'm kind of addicted to it. I'm not like in the gym. I work out at home or in the park. I just do like calisthenics and stuff. But yeah, I enjoy it. Like I feel good, and it's like, I don't ride as much, but I ride on weekends and it's like, I work out for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's not like a whole bunch.
Yeah. It's
You
like,
do 20-minute workouts?
yeah, quite a bit. Yeah. Just like
Once a day, 20 minutes?
if I don't have more time, I'll try to squeeze in at least 20 minutes, but I'll probably do like 45 minutes, like 3 days a week. But I just need to do something.
That's not that much for how ripped you are. It looks like you hang out in a gym a lot.
For those people that don't know, he's also vegan.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about being vegan because I feel like that's the most cliche thing we could do. But I mean, he's been vegan for
pretty important.
25 years.
25, 26 years.
I know you well.
But I
you might be the longest running vegan I've ever met.
I think it's also
25 years.
because
That's
I'm lean,
Film has insect bits in it though, so he's not
gelatin.
truly vegan.
Yeah, that was a huge.
What happened?
Film has gelatin in it,
Yeah.
so it's not. And there's a lot of vegan.
So it's all a
photographers.
lie. He's not vegan.
Vegan
y'all.
diet.
Yeah, I used to say I practice being a vegan.
Okay.
So because I know being in modern society, film aside, there's a lot of things you probably do every day that somehow aren't vegan, and there's just you don't even know. So it's like,
you've always I mean, to his credit,
person.
A lot of people have told me that like Jeff is the less like annoying vegan because he is well prepared. He goes on trips. He brings his own shit. He will scuttle off to find his own food if necessary. Won't dictate that everybody goes to where he wants to go. And then you also, I've seen you be at places and you're like, oh, does the bean have lards, or does it have lard in it? And they're like, no, it doesn't have. And then you get it and you eat it and you're like, it has lard. And I feel like you've been like, I need to eat or something like that. Like, I feel like there's been some example of that.
I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah, there was some example of that where you're like, I have to like, do what I have to do or whatever.
But yeah, I always look at it. It's like I made this bed. I need to sleep in it, so I'm not going to inconvenience other people.
Yeah,
it's like back in the day, back in the day, we go to a hotel. We're on a trip, and I would like look in the yellow pages and find like a natural food store and get up before everyone else got up and take a taxi to go get food. Because I'm not going to ask the team manager to drive me or whatever, So I would just
it's like everything in your life. You started the vegan before it was a thing, so you couldn't. It was not easy. So now it's like, wow, this is great.
Oh my God,
happy cow,
dude. Yeah, it's gotten so much easier.
So I mean, I guess it's worth talking about because you tried vegan and you were into it for a while and then you couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, not that I couldn't. I just slowly stopped because I got no excuses, but it just got harder and harder having a family, and I was just like, I'll eat my chicken's eggs in the backyard. I'll do this until one day I was having a carne asada burrito. And I was like, fuck, I really just slipped down a rabbit hole on this, So
I think it
so
takes
much respect to keep doing it forever like that. It's amazing to not eat animals like that. It's 25 years.
Yeah, it's
discipline.
It's beautiful.
Discipline.
It's one of the few things in life that is been able to like hunker down for. And at this point, I'm like, it's not. It's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, are your wife and kids still vegan?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean,
it's crazier. I mean, I don't know if maybe ever, but like Zola has grown up just never eating an animal. That's like so.
I honestly don't think she'll ever eat meat. Because she, we never gave her like a militant speech or like brainwashed her. We've been very like, we've explained to her why we made these choices, and she's never seen like any graphic images of like a slaughterhouse or anything. Yeah. But she really does love animals, and she said it on her own accord many times, like, "Oh, I'm never going to eat an animal or eat meat." I mean, maybe it'll change one day. And we've told her like, if you want to try these things, like, we're not going to buy you meat. Like we're not going to support it in that way with like our money. But if you want to try it, or if you're at, we're not going to say no. We're not going to be mad at you or whatever.
That's a whole other thing when you let her go over to a friend's house or something. Like I feel like that's like the world that I'm getting into. The kid goes over to another parent's house and they have a different set of rules that you don't agree with.
Yeah.
So that'll be.
I mean, I think like and again, like I said, like I don't think she will, but I mean, she's been at parties and we'll let her have some of the cake and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to make her feel like out of place.
Yeah.
She's not going to eat the pizza, but she'll have like, she never can finish this. Have
icing
a couple bites.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's like a lot.
It's probably insane. All right. Well, we did the vegan conversation. I was like, we're going to interview Jeff and not say the word vegan, but then we did it. So
it's a huge part of his life.
It is a huge part of your life. I don't mean to discredit it, but I feel like
fine.
like there's been Jeff's how-to smoothies on Ride and stuff like that. Like, because,
that was a long time ago. So I feel like a lot of people wouldn't know that one,
Yeah.
So how old were you when you started being vegan?
19 or 20.
In Jersey. Think about it.
And back in the yellow pages on Motel 6, getting a cab to go get your food.
Yeah, there was definitely some
really
times
been through the
it was,
ringer on all aspects.
Yeah.
It's still hard sometimes overseas, but it is what it is.
He travels with a lot of snacks.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
All right, we got a couple. Oh, you want to?
I was going to say, has Dalecki been vegan for around similar amount of time?
longer than me, actually.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Another person that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I remember when I was doing it, I was talking to you guys. I remember the yellow page thing, and it made me feel like such a pussy. It's like, dude, you used to do that. Like, God, this is hard enough just with the apps and the phone and everything.
I used to bring a cooler on trips I would like a hard shell cooler and put like bread and peanut butter and other things and like tape it and in my checked luggage, just so when I got somewhere, I didn't have to like find a health food store.
Yeah.
You're like,
is that
only certain places. I'm like, there were certain parts of the country where I'm like, we're only going to be stopping in hotels with like gas stations and fast food places for dinner. And that's it. Like, and I'm like, we're not even going to be near like real, like just like grocery stores. And even if there are, it's just going to be like hummus and ingredients to make something, and the bread, all they're going to have is like white bread or bread with like eggs in it or whey or whatever. So I just, it was rare.
But whey's not vegan?
Yeah, whey is like a milk protein.
You get into being vegan, it's harder than you could even imagine. When you realize what they put animal product in everything.
Or if vegan is like just really like unhealthy processed food where it's like no nutritional value. So I mean, bringing the cooler of food thing was only did a couple times, but I did it.
It happened. Yeah. Fucking hell. Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
You're a beast.
It's awesome. Difficult. All right, here we go.
Yeah, we could talk about that. That's a whole podcast in itself. More and more questions.
Andy Persing, aka Andy Dreads BMX, and I'm just calling to ask Jeff a question. Jeff, if you had to pick, not to put you on the spot, but if you had to pick, what would be your top 3 favorite spots of all time? That's of course, shout out to you guys doing the podcast. I listen to all of them. So, yeah, what's your top 3 favorite spots, Jeff? Let's hear it.
Shout out to you, Andy. So I am going to try and make this hotline thing work. We're pretty bad at it, but the hotline is 619-784-8126. Any topics, any questions, whatever you want, we will run through them eventually. I think we need to get on our stuff with that, but the question...
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Yeah. Without giving it a ton of thought, I'd probably say the Broken Banks, maybe the 605 ditch, and then...
That is a go-to for you.
Yeah, because it has a little bit of waterized bank to ledge.
Yeah.
So I like the vibe there. And then, a third one. It'd have to be somewhere involved
Park
with like
benches?
No, I feel like I want like a flat rail. I just love flat rails. Like ones that are, you could, that are forgiving.
That one, the flat rail next to the brick or next to the cinder block ledge in like North Long Beach. You've been there a bunch.
Oh yeah, that one off Atlantic. That one's fun.
I have to open it up anyways. So,
I don't know about a third one though.
Yeah, that's okay. That's 2. The on the spot is pretty good. So, I think it's in here.
Oh yeah, it's where I did the weasel grind behind the pole.
That spot was good too before they put those poles up in there.
Yeah. That last spot is definitely fun. It's just scary. Whenever I ride, I'm always afraid of putting my foot in that between the rail and the wall and move. And it's like a knee, like a knee destroyer. And that spot is so filthy.
It is.
So the day we filmed that, there was a guy jerking off in a bag.
Oh my god!
In a bag?
Yeah.
Why not just release it into the wind for everybody?
It was me, Calvin, and Biz, and the guy. He just sat against the wall, and then you just like had it out in
your guys' honor.
I don't know. Maybe I don't think the 64.
Maybe for Biz, probably for Biz. All right, last one.
Grimy Long Beach.
The
cool message, guys. That was really cool. I wanted to see what was going to happen if I called this hotline. Oh, this is Doyle, by the way. I just wanted to see what was going to happen when I called this hotline, but I have a question for Jeff Zielinski. Are there any BMXers that you've always wanted to shoot, but you never had the chance to?
That's a really good question.
That is a great question.
Holy grail of like, oh my god, I want to shoot with that guy.
Yeah, never shot a photo of Matt
Hoffman.
Hoffman.
And
more.
It can be either like filming or shooting photos. Is there like one guys or a group of people that you never really got to shoot that you always wanted to? That was kind of my only question. I just kind of made that up on the spot.
That's a good one, though. I just wanted to call it.
Love you, Doyle.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Looking forward to it. Keep up the good work. I love you. Bye-bye.
Interesting thing about Doyle.
I love you too, Chris.
I think Doyle had more ride covers than anyone else.
Maybe.
And I know I shot like Dusseldorf. I think
with the sparkle through the butthole.
I can't remember. I think
and then the BDD.
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah. That one. Yeah, I think
you
I
know
shot
the BDD.
That was a Mulligan joke for that one. He was like, we have to put down the cover.
Oh yeah.
So Hoffman's the one.
Yeah.
To answer Doyle's question.
I never shot with Hoffman. Never.
Wow.
Yeah, bums me out. I barely got a chance to shoot with Mira, but I did. But yeah, I never shot with Hoffman.
So this is the sparkle through the butt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sparkle through the butt. A great, obviously, Doyle. Top 3, 5, 10 no foot cans in BMX for sure.
I have
top
a funny
side.
Doyle no foot can story. We could talk about the next one.
All right. Well, then we'll do, and then oddly enough, we got Sparkle Butt, and then we got good old Big Dick Doyle, the bulge.
Yeah,
the joke.
We didn't notice that, and Keith's like, "Oh," and then we're like, "What?" And then he's like, "Apparently it's like a joke."
Yeah, Miron said it at like Metro Jam back in the day. He just started calling him Big Dick Doyle. It'd be like Big Dick Doyle, and then so the cover, obviously, so pretty funny.
Yeah.
But you shot 2 of them. Was there another one?
I think I only person shot 2 with him, but I'm pretty sure he's.
Yeah, there's
one. You shot one.
Oh, I shot one too. Yeah.
But I think
that one's horrible. That photo is so good, and then we had to fucking murder it for the cover.
I shot 3 with him. That no-handed 3.
Oh, this
down
one,
there.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
Yeah, because I think I shot 78 ride covers, and 3 of them were with Doyle. But all told,
78
I think
covers.
He had like 5 ride covers.
I have never counted my covers, and I should have, just so I could just look horrible and be like, I shot 17 or something like that. We worked there for the same amount just to show how much better Jeff was at shooting photos than I am.
No, well, I started sooner than you with them.
I guess I had to learn how to shoot photos. But
You say you only had 5? It looks like there's way more than 5 already.
But that one's Ride UK.
Well, Ride UK, 1, 2, 3. That's Transworld BMX. 4. 5. That's pretty.
Yeah, I think he had 5.
Yeah, but
Gary's got to have 5.
I don't think
rooftop. I think it's rooftop.
I'm sure.
Mira. I think it's rooftop though, and
The
van.
5 Club.
I don't know. I think Doyle might be the only one who has 5.
That's a good question.
crazy.
Who
Yeah,
has
that
the most
rare.
Ride BMX magazine covers?
I don't know.
Gotta get ChatGPT. Pull that shit up.
But back to the Doyle thing. While you're looking for that,
Yeah. So
right
Hoffman.
when we started
Hoffman?
shooting, yeah, I never shot Hoffman.
Oh.
I'm sure there's other riders, but obviously Hoffman's a huge one.
Yeah.
When we started shooting digital, I knew we always had the ride posters. Doyle and I went out to shoot a wall ride, no footy can, and it was shot digital. It was like early on digital, and first try, first photo, just like the cover, like perfect feet, perfect. We're done. Like one photo, and he's like, "That's it. We're done. We drove all the way out here. One photo." And I'm like, yeah, we're done. Yeah, we did it. And he's like, we should just shoot a couple more, just because. Sure, and we used the first one, because he was so used to especially shooting dirt,
the film days and stuff like that.
With Mulligan or Low C or even me, if you're shooting dirt, you have them just kind of do the same tricks a couple times because you don't know.
Yeah.
And it was like not that risky. They can do a no foot can, a handful of times. But I was kind of used to it because I was mostly shooting street, and a lot of times it was kind of like, yeah, I don't want to do this a lot of times, and I got that,
Too
but yeah,
funny.
we nailed it on the first one, and that was that. And then I think we shot like 2 more times just because we were there, but we didn't need to.
Too funny. There is one other one that had the spam message on it, but let's see. Don't look.
Yo, what's up, guys? I got a question here for Jeff Z. I just wanted to ask what your favorite BMX photo of all time is, regardless of if you took it or not.
Oh, that's good.
And why? Also, my name is Ken Overman. I've been riding BMX since I was 12 years old. Just turned 40.
Nice.
I appreciate you guys for all you do with the podcast, man. Keep them coming. This shit rocks. Thanks, guys.
Oh yeah, thank you, Ken.
Happy belated birthday, Ken.
Yeah. I think it's awesome that all 4 questions were different than what we had. So
totally.
That's awesome.
It's cool that Andy asked one about spots.
Yeah.
What doesn't surprise me is Andy is super passionate about spots, but But man, that's a good question about like anyone's photo. But again, that's so hard.
You don't have a favorite photo all time?
No, I mean that.
I mean, I figured, or the Ruben one. I mean,
well, because Tamara's in it.
Well, come on, and the Volvo.
And the Volvo that I burned down.
Yeah.
I mean, that one does have a lot of sentimental value. Oh shit. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Probably one of your photos because you're my favorite BMX photographer.
Oh, God.
So.
Yeah, right. It's probably of Dennis too, and do the full butt
So
kiss.
nice, yeah. Shout us out.
I've
over
told
here.
you that before, though. That you're my
I mean,
favorite
you
BMX
say that, and that. I mean, I obviously,
I
sincerely appreciate that. I mean, it is humbling. Sometimes I think you're fucking with me.
I mean, I definitely don't say the same.
like,
I don't go,
yeah.
hey, Lucky, you're my favorite photographer. I mean, he's probably my second favorite, but I don't tell him he's my favorite.
That's crazy. Yeah, but I appreciate that. So, all right, and move on from
Question
that. Yeah.
answered.
Question answered.
I was gonna
Mine.
ask that.
The photo is mine. Whatever one. Every single photo
Yeah.
I've ever shot. All right. Instagram questions, and then we'll call it. Dennis is tired. I am tired. Jeff has 2-hour drive home.
Gotta call it at some point, but it's been great so far.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. We are almost 4 hours in, but this is the way it goes. Evolution of flat setup, beginning to now. That one's hard. You may need to reply to that
flat
one.
setup?
Yeah. Did I say flat setup? Your flatland bike. Do you think S&M bikes, do you think the people at home know how much stretching goes on behind the scenes of their favorite BMX photo?
Sometimes I'm in the video stretching. So
Is he?
Yeah, you're almost like you just do it part of your day. It's not, you
Yeah.
know, it's just part of life for you. You're always stretching.
you need to just like you feel like get out of the car. You know, sometimes before I get into the car.
Yeah.
I don't stretch as much as I used to though. I don't stretch in your legs often. I don't
Yeah.
have the patience to do yoga like I used to.
Well, I mean, like even shooting photos, like there was a time period where like I remember Walter Parringer had like the down sight for his Canon camera, you know, like
yeah.
so he could like put the camera on the
periscope
ground
thing, yeah.
where I would like lay on my stomach
Yeah,
and
I prefer
like
sniper style.
and then Jeff would be in some like crazy yoga position because he was so flexible, you know, like where his like legs are folded underneath him and he's like down, you know, so and then he brings a yoga mat because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you're like I really would like to shoot a photo from here, but it looks like there's human shit, you know,
Yeah,
like
the
you have no
mat-
idea.
Mats come in handy.
Yeah, so it gets pretty brutal, but then you don't know which way you're flipping it. So last time,
No,
I
wrote down on the on one side. So
Damn it.
that side goes
you
down.
can't fucking get him.
Yeah,
You
he's-
cannot get him.
He's dialed human being.
He's like, he should have, instead of down, he should have wrote shit side.
he knows.
The side
that's
was
a-
shit.
First thing he's gonna have to deal with when he goes to do yoga later. What side did I lay this in shit?
Well, I have a separate one. I have one.
I
have
know.
one. Yeah.
Dan Conway, tell the story about the turtle losing his shell in Taiwan.
I saw that. I don't know what he means.
Oh boy, I've learned a
But-
lot from you over the years. My back thanks you. Maybe it's I don't know.
But
something.
the fact that he said he learned from me, it made me happy because I don't know what he learned. But
Yeah.
For me personally, but Dan's great. I'm so stoked to have him part of the team. Like he just embodies so much like charisma, and he's just so down to ride anything all the time.
Yeah.
When you're there, he's like he just brings a good energy. He gets your back. Like definitely just an all around solid human.
He literally like there's times where it's like dead silent in between things, and then Dan's like too quiet, and he's fucking do it, you fucking you know, like, and you're like it just it makes everybody smile, bring shit up. Like he's such like a polarizing like
He is.
energy to any session. So
For sure.
Bia from Bloom, I assume that's Bia. You guys need to take a sip for every dad joke.
I don't think we made any dad jokes.
We just don't know.
The tortily beforehand.
And I didn't say that one. You did.
Yeah, but you said one afterwards. So there was two beforehand, but we made up for it.
We sipped.
Cooper Brownlee, another workhorse lifer. Jeff's thoughts on the future of BMX photographers, being that social media has grown so much and print mags not being the forefront of the scene like they once were. And Senadar seconds this question.
Yeah, I read that one too earlier, and I was like, man, that's a good question because it's hard to say. I mean, I feel like I don't think there's as many, but then you see like the Dig photo annual come out with the contest, and it seems like, I mean, and I'll see people in there. I'm like, I never heard of most of these people, you know.
Yeah.
But they're doing it, you know, and there's a handful. I mean, with Silent, I've definitely have learned of a handful of photographers I wasn't aware of before, but yeah, definitely. I don't know what the future is for them as far as like
Career.
you know, unless
I
you work
think-
for a brand or something. But
I think there's two words that I think of is like diversification in your talents. Photography can be your passion, but don't close yourself off to learning other things.
Yeah.
And then I think BMX has always been a springboard of amazing talent that moves on to other things, be it fashion or fine art. You know, like there's so many aspects of like that core work horse ethic and like the just what you need to do to be successful in this world, how it carries you forward. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of examples of that. You know, the Joe Simons, the Harrison boys, that's just on the video. But I mean, Harrison was shot a lot of photos as well. And you know, like what's his name?
Cosman.
So many.
Oh, why am I blanking? Jeff Allen, you know, like fashion photographer, stuff like that. So there are a lot of skill sets that you pick up on BMX that you will not pick up in anywhere else in the world. So, yeah, I don't know. Top 5 photos you ever shot. Z, we kind of covered that from Pat Frayne. Shout out to him, another photographer who is, you know, same thing. Passion for BMX, shoots is a full-time photographer as far as I know.
Yeah, I
Correct.
believe for the most part,
Yeah.
he's whether he's like shooting, assisting, or whatever. But yeah, he's in it. And awesome rider, and just great dude.
Should we?
And tall as hell.
And tall as hell.
I like Dean's question. I mean, music. You know, it's
What band's music inspired your riding and photography the most from Dean Dickinson?
pretty much the Ride On soundtrack and Dirty Deeds. So basically, Fugazi, Sonic Youth, Dinosaur Jr., Bad Brains. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
the entire Discord Records catalog, and so on.
Have you found any new bands that you like recently?
A couple, yeah. There's this band High Viz from the UK, like a post-hardcore band.
Okay.
I'm pretty stoked on, and this band called Mil Spec. They're from Canada, another like post-hardcore band. Both odd names, but you know,
High Viz, Mil Spec.
yeah, Mil Spec is an odder name.
Mil
High
Spec
Viz-
is like a machining, like a
oh, Mil Spec. Oh,
Yeah,
I see,
yeah.
like specs. Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
millimeter spec or something like
That
that.
makes sense.
Yeah. E from Catlow, you shot a lot of great flatland photos of the years. Any standouts? And what in your mind takes a good photograph, or what makes a good photograph, rather?
Composition, number one.
Composition, yeah. From the flat aspect, though,
Flat aspect.
I feel like that was like such an open world.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of times the flat, like obviously I've worked with a ton of flatliners, and it's like, I would have to ask them, like, what is the moment that you picture to be the one? Because a lot of times it was a switch between two tricks, and I'm like, what would look right? You know, like, well, and they would literally be like, hand about here, this foot here. You know, some of them were really specific, and I'm all right, you know, and we would just, and then you just light it, and then other times it's like trying to think of like a cool spot, so it's not just the trick, but it's also the location.
Yeah,
you know, obviously
yeah.
Terry Adams comes to mind for that. Like Terry is always
First
super
flatland cover of
enthusiastic.
Ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not the first in many years. First I shot. But back in the day, a lot of flatliners had, like Dave Smith had a ride cover, I think. Like
Did he?
it was definitely, maybe it wasn't Dave, but yeah, back in the early years of Ride, there was definitely a couple of flatliners on the cover.
Okay. I believe you.
I don't know if Day actually had one, but there was a couple of flat covers. Not many.
Yeah,
but
very few.
There was a couple.
Yeah. Jamie Beswick.
That was a good question too.
Yeah. If you hadn't chosen photography, what would you have chosen for a
Maybe
career?
a really lousy pro bike rider.
Very
Yeah.
short-lived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Same.
I work in a natural food store, so I would imagine something maybe to do with like nutrition, or maybe I'd become a manager at a Whole Foods. I don't know.
Inventing bee-free film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would. Yeah.
Great question, shitty answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Franny 87. What was your trip like with Magoo?
It was entertaining. I mean, that guy talks a mile a minute.